about every day. Sean and Neil, they're locked in, they're loaded, they're ready to look at the tickers that you decided. But before we get to that, the future is just coming off highs there. The Q's at 464. We saw the NQ June contract really try to fight with 19.1 on the day, a little bit above, a little bit below, in anticipation of this next name over here. AAPL currently going through the Worldwide Developer Conference, and the price has been all over the map, guys. We're almost at that 198 level in the pre-market, really now breaking down below 195. What's your look on this one?
Apple.
They're selling the news. Oh, yeah, they're selling the news. I just turned the audio off on it now so we could start with you guys here. But look, they're going out of their way not to use the word AI, despite the fact that a bunch of features that they have mentioned are clearly and obviously using artificial intelligence, which they're calling machine learning, as Brendan was just talking about to a lot of people at the desk. But it was a sell the news event this morning. It's continuing to be the same thing. So I wouldn't say disappointing. I know a good friend of mine is listening to it. He says there's not enough nuts and bolts in there, but you'll let that one settle down. Price action has been a sell. There was this fear that we'd get like a power outage. I just got flat because I was short like right here, right now, so I could just punch out flat. But I do feel like you had the move in the morning, which was to the downside right away. You essentially gave up that close. I was looking longs. We lost long there. We took another long in front of 196. That didn't work. We took a long in front of 195 half. Try one off 95, even got out. Then I like to short off these levels. It's a sell the news kind of thing. It sold at 96 once they were done with the iOS event. It then broke down through 95. It's kind of curling off this 95, which was the morning bottom. I think in here, risk to reward, I kind of like that sell the news event. Currently, what are they talking about now? Ubisoft. Oh, watch out for PayPal, because that is holding lower when they announced like I forget what they called it. It's Cash. They had a name for it.
Apple Cash, probably.
Apple Cash. I think they call it like Apple Cash.
There you go.
Those lines. But either way, if that's not what it's called, it doesn't really matter. PayPal is holding lower after that got dropped. So they're under some pressure. PayPal app no longer going to be that much more important to Apple users. So this is holding a bit of a trend down. Morning lows holding resistance, similar to Apple. PayPal down 1%. I think you want to pay attention to some of these ancillary names. It's at the end of the day, sometimes you get these secondary pushes if Apple's taking aim at some of these other companies and what they offer. Those can end up being the better trade. So if PayPal does not break back through like 66.75 or VWAP, that looks like it can be shorted for the rest of the day. Market's actually pretty strong, despite Apple showing weakness.
So, we knew Apple would be, some of these graphics and everything
so cool
that they're doing with Apple here and Ubisoft is fucking amazing. Okay, that's just true of a lot of things. So just look, we went short on this 194 break and we were able to do really well. It broke back up, we were able to get out. So, short on that break, we tried 195 again. 195 was great, up to 196. Like, these are the longs that we had right when we left you guys. It was 1018, we kept the same ones all the way through. And then eventually we started to break down once the talk happened. It's 2 hours old right now. So I don't know if they're going to announce anything coming up or if they're just going to wind up ending this. I still feel like I haven't seen anything that's overly exciting yet. The stuff on the iPad was really cool with the equations and all that, and this gaming stuff is pretty cool. But adding different emojis or tap likes and all this kind of stuff isn't super sexy to me, so I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with Apple here. I still feel like there's more to come. Let's wait, but if they don't give us anything, then I think we can smack this short pretty soon. So the Apple Pay was pretty cool, as Neil mentioned. Other than that, there hasn't been a whole heck of a lot from what I can see. So, yeah. Anyways, that's Apple WWDC. We'll just figure it out. I still want to go short. The call was long 195 on the sticky note here today. Unfortunately, we went through and back and forth, and now we're right back to where we were. Like, this is right, so they're ending right now, it seems like, and that's 12 o'clock. It has done nothing. So up and then down, and it's right now where 12 o'clock was. So you're right at the same penny almost as if this didn't happen. So, all right, we'll just see what winds up happening here, and we'll wait to see when this ends. But we might be over now with the Apple conference, it seems like. So we'll probably try to go long off 195, but I'm thinking more short now.
First day post split for Nvidia after that 10-to-1 split effective today. You can see there it went red to green, a bit of a sell-off to start the day there. Good recovery throughout, topping at 123. Sean, you're long 118.02. What is your look, sir?
Right now, $5 in the money, but I just punched longer here on Apple. Apple right now is trying to talk something about AI, but I have no idea if they're going to do anything AI based or not. So right now they're talking a little bit about AI. We just punched long on that. We'll see if it does anything. It's not doing anything right now, but they're talking about how AI has to be powerful. It has to be integrated. It has to understand you. This is almost one for one what he's saying right now.
That is
Tim Cook. So, all right, so we'll wait for that. But good look on Nvidia. I mean, for sure. Let's go, man. This is going to be an absolutely awesome trade for me today. Oh, shoot. That's right. You can't see it off the open. There's the short right here, if you can see it. Maybe get my mug off there, Ramin, for a second, just so I can show. Oh, that's good enough. Right there. So here's the move. Downside. We'll see where it goes now. Back into 118 and change. So, you know, that was $2 to $3. Then we punched long off 118 and we still have it. So we're $4.50 in the money on this trade. Nvidia up 1.3%. Market relatively flat, but I like it. There goes Apple right now. We are cruising. Nice move, for AAPL. We're in the money just a little bit. Let's start introducing Apple Intelligence. Right now. So they're introducing a brand new Apple Intelligence software. So we'll find out more about this. We're starting to go now. Let's go. This is what we waited for. Here goes Apple back up to the upside. We're back into this one, baby. Your boys got it. Let's see how far we can go. They're talking about Apple Intelligence as we speak. I don't know what we can and can't show on here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think we're allowed to show you guys the stream, so we'll try to keep you abreast of it. I just took the first break. The second I heard him say that, I just went 96. The long, if it breaks the high, I think it can be an ad. We're going to listen to it as they're going on, and we'll let you guys know. But yeah, finally they're saying exactly what I think everybody wanted to hear. So that the local high is 196.40. If it can break this, I think it can really start to go. 197, big resistance on Apple. So we'll keep you guys abreast of what's going on. I think clearly we can not worry about this power outage thing by now. I think we're good to go.
AMC next on the list, and no specific headline for this one today, but we saw over the weekend Roaring Kitty coming out again, and he had that video on Friday, had well in excess of 700,000 views, I believe even more. Its sister company, AMC, tried to break through 5 today. You can see they went red to green at the open. Did you guys have a look at AMC today?
Absolutely. You know what? Like AMC was, I want to say, relatively simplistic in terms of trading because you just pop up GameStop. Let me see if I can get GameStop up on one of my black charts so I can show you guys side by side. Like all I was looking for on AMC was these little points of weakness where you could find fade trades on GME. So if you look at right here at about 1080, well, let me zoom that in for you guys. There you go. Right in here at about 1015 to 1018 was the first spike right there on AMC where we got the short. And that was when 28 was holding as a brick wall on Nvidia, or not Nvidia, on GameStop. So you saw this 28 just hold, 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 hold. When that happened, I know my head's in the way. Let me try and do, there you go, that's better. So I shorted here off the high when 28 was holding and then scalped it. And then you had this spike where it failed VWAP. And then when that happened, we shorted it again. And then when it kept on, when we keep on breaking down, we lost 26 and 25, and then you short AMC again. So all we were doing was looking for spots on GameStop with relative weakness to short AMC. Now I did get out of the trade because we thought maybe the power would be going out here, but I think it's absolutely fine. The next move up, if GameStop rejects 25 on a push up, I'd look to short VWAP on AMC. So it was more of a sympathy play than anything else for me on AMC. We paid for the locates here. We did have to pay for locates, but they've been on real trading. We've been paying 1/8 of 1 cent on GameStop, 1/8 of 1 cent on AMC, 1/8 of 1 cent on name stock that you have to pay locates on. And it's been relatively cheap, so you go ahead and do it. Whether or not the setup happens, today it did, shorting pops in AMC based on price action in GME.
All right, we're still messing around with Apple right here, right now. AMC, I don't really have much going on. All right, here, like Apple right now is 195.16. It's just bouncing around, so we're gonna have to wait to see what winds up happening here. Nice move down, 195 and change. We'll see about 194.50 trying to hold up right here. Apple right now trying to hold out and seems like it is at 195. So let's wait to see what happens here. Let's go northbound, Apple. They're still doing AI stuff. It seems underwhelming for sure, but I don't know what to expect. We have some stops down at 194, maybe even the low of the day. Remember, if this is nothing, then you're not going to want to hold this. You know, it's like overpromise, under-deliver. Yeah, like
Under-promise, over-deliver is what you want to do.
That's what you want to do, but I'm saying that appears to be maybe not what they're doing. All right, well, what I'm doing is getting some out right now, so no matter what they're talking about, we'll take a little bit of profit right now on this and see what winds up happening. As we're just long right here, we just got out at 30s. Maybe we get back up into 196, 197. Come on, Apple. We're long this name right here, right now. I have good GameStop stories to tell you. So let's get back and I'll talk about GameStop.
This one got an upgrade today from Wedbush, coming from $7 to $13.50, essentially almost doubling the price target there. You can see that it didn't really use that information to the upside. It's trading at day's lows now, guys. It was volatile, did present you opportunities. What's the look on GameStop?
So look, here on GameStop, we're actually, unfortunately, it was a little bit of a crash coming through there here today. And we were long early. We talked about taking some of that profit, rips all the way to 28.50. We had those diamond hands, which eventually became mud hands and fell right through. And we got out at 26 on that break. So these longs are 26, 26.50. We're able to be down on it, but not that bad. Then when it broke 25, we went short. There's a 23.60. Look, since we've been short, it's never been against us. I still like the trade. I'm still short GameStop. And honestly, I think they may put a run on Gil there, because if he's long 20s, I mean, is he going to let those expire worthless? Is he going to punch out at a certain point? I mean, I'm just waiting for him to liquidate his own position.
He's rich. He might let them expire.
He might. I have no idea. I mean, it's
know.
just like, and plus they're expired the 21st, so we still have 11 days, which is I think probably now 7 or 8 trading days left in this. So
it's a holiday. That's right.
I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen with GameStop. All right, so here comes Apple right back into 194 again. So let's wait to see. I don't think they like this AI announcement for sure. We're not loading into this trade, but Apple's coming back down.
Buddy, just before we move on, I have to say this because there's a good friend of mine who's he's a big Apple junkie and he watches the show and he loves Trader TV. And you can tell because he just messaged me, I'm not sure what VWAP is saying, but it should be a buy. So he likes it, even though I'm saying it seems like it's underwhelming here. But he seems relatively happy with some of the AI stuff. But again, it is what it is. As far as GameStop goes, I think this 25 is going to be a line. Like, I don't know if we get back to 25, but the 25 rejection looks pretty good. I was only long the stock, and thankfully we had gotten out of it early, tried a long in the 26 level, but underneath 25, I think it could see 20 at some point this week. It wouldn't surprise me. Just keep in mind, next week, he has... it's interesting next week, the expiry is on Friday. It's a holiday on Wednesday. So that Thursday trade for GameStop could be super spicy because you'll have a whole day off. And then suddenly Thursday, Friday, you'll condense all that price action in just a couple of days with that. So if we get a spike in GameStop, I'm not shorting GameStop. I'm probably going to end up shorting AMC because it's been a much easier read on that one. And just before we move on, AMD is absolutely tanking down into 160. So that 160 could come into play for them. Really? Despite Nvidia holding 122 up at the top, AMD is having another one of those reversal days. So not looking good for, I just said AMD and I typed Nvidia. See what happens. And Nvidia is so good that even when I say AMD, I pull up the Nvidia chart. That just tells you how great the stock is in my estimation. So right off the lows here on AMD, I'm going to look to short some pops here, maybe back into 161.5.
The SPY is trying to hold 535 right now. You can see defended those pre-market lows, kind of a pseudo double bottom, headed up throughout the trading day, kind of ranged a little bit. Off the highs right now, guys, recall that this week we have the FOMC rate decision on Wednesday, largely expected they'll hold. We also have CPI on Wednesday, so futures positions going to be very much in focus this week, guys. What is the look on the SPY or the futures in general?
Completely inside, I think. You know, you haven't even broached Friday's range. Well, obviously, Friday was a really volatile day in the market, but it's been an inside day, and I think that can be expected. And in a day where Nvidia's up strong and Apple's under some pressure, and Tesla's not having a good day, but then Meta's like super strong, that's exactly what you expect out of the SPY. It's completely middling at this point. So I think you want to respect these tops that we had on Friday. It was a triple top of sorts on the SPY, 536.5. And unless we're really, truly breaking that out, I mean, the NASDAQ's exactly the same as the S&P 500. So I think there's almost no difference here. I think you respect that top. And you can look for, I'd say look for weak names to short when you get to that high. But I look at this top and say, why not? Like, it's just completely mixed bag when it comes to all of the big cap names right now. And when that is the case, I think you can short highs. I think you can long some of the bottoms, and you're nowhere near any of that support to even think about it. Anytime you're this strong in the overall market, the daily chart hates me, but doesn't really make a difference. You're kind of in a top-end consolidation zone for SPY, for SPY there. Siri update, they just said.
Here we go. Here comes the Siri update. We are long on Apple right now. We just bought 194.50s again. So this is what everyone's waiting for. They're going to start talking about it. So watch out. This thing is very, very violent. We're getting in and out of this as much as we can. I mean, we've just been buying. It's been great since they've announced AI. We talked about this with GameStop. Wait for certain things to happen and then react to them. So we waited for AI to hit. So there goes AI. It's hitting right now. So we'll see what winds up happening here. I mean, they're talking about Siri, and this is what we wait for. So we're in the trade. SPY, I mean, I didn't really look at it today, to be honest with you. The ES is trying to hold out a little bit here. I prefer the NASDAQ, but the SPY at all-time highs, just pennies, dollars away, I guess, at this point for SPY. And again, the thing is, this is the top 500 companies. And of course, today we're all about talking to Siri right now. But Apple, Microsoft was starting to go. Meta had a big day today. And then here's the SPY on its 52-week high of 536.89. So right now we're at 535 and change. I think we still hold out for highs. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty excited about this whole Apple thing. Let's see what happens when they're done. I like the SPY right now, heading higher. VWAP today, and I'm just talking about it just where we are today. I mean, we just bounced off the 200. We hadn't seen VWAP since 10 o'clock this morning. So, yeah, well juiced up here. I think back into like 534.50, decent area to start buying. Again, if Apple drops now, then this will drop as well. So here comes Apple dropping right now. So we can watch out for the SPY and the NASDAQ to give back. So here's Apple down at and near day's low. So as I talk, I can't really speak about what they're talking about, but it looks like they don't like it. Apple back in. Day's low for Apple, I can't see it on here, but something. Probably 193 change. So we'll find out, but Apple's coming back in right now. Not bad, but bad enough. We're out 60 cents right now.
And that's the rundown. So just a couple of other things. One, Tesla down 2%, almost at that 173 bottom. We kind of showed you this the last couple of days. This is a mouse of mine. I keep saying I'm going to replace my mouse, and I don't do it over lunch. 172.25 on Tesla is the 50 period on the daily. The 173, it came really, really close on a bounce here. 173.40 on the low. So this could test some of these bottoms where we said we look for a bounce zone. I did make a play off 75.5, but as you can see, under a ton of pressure is Tesla, along with, now the futures are starting to come down because Apple's.
Yep.
Oh, no, Nvidia just took 122 and is headed to 121. It's not just Apple right now. Nvidia, apologies on the chart, right into VWAP here for Nvidia. If Nvidia wants to bounce off VWAP, I might take a shot long off 121 here as the market's starting to come back in.
Yeah, if we lose You see, this is the thing. It's undefined again right there, right? You mentioned that story. Your friend liked it. There it goes right to the downside. So it just goes to show you, man. You know, the minute other people start liking these things, this is when it turns the other way. It's like that whole thing about Bitcoin. When they start talking to you about Bitcoin, you know that might be the top. So right there, I like the stock. Bang, down $3. So let's wait to see what happens here with Apple. I mean, it looks like it's trying to break through 192 right now. Big move down. They don't like whatever that news is there about Siri. So there it is. I think they're going to be wrapping up pretty soon. I was going to use 192 as the out, but I didn't get enough. I didn't get anything at the bottom there. I was just sitting here watching it, wondering how much we're going to lose. But we'll see where it goes from here. Looks like it's trying to take it again to the downside. So watch out for 192 break here on Apple. When that happens, I think it'll be pretty nasty. So just be careful. But Apple right now heading to the downside. And we're long, so hence losing on this Apple position long. So, I mean, we're out $1.30. It does suck. You know, trade one, they're done, maybe not while they're still going on, but here we go. Let's figure this out with Siri.
I'm literally time stamping this for my buddy. The moment he sent me that message about that whole VWAP comment. But it's not like Apple's moving to the downside, but it's not just Apple. Like a lot of things caught, I think, like a sympathy sell. Like right when that happened, I look over at Nvidia. Nvidia tanked. Nvidia moved down $1 into VWAP. I got 121.22s. I just took some out in front of 121.50. But at the same moment, like I looked over, like Softy pulled into VWAP and is now bouncing. It's almost as if like some programs just started selling. Like stocks that were trending up, did a little bit of a dip down in there. I already mentioned Tesla and AMD moving to the downside. In terms of where you might expect there to be a bit of a bid. It just, I have a bad wick on this chart. 192.25 was a very big closing price back on the, right at the end of the month. And then it was support on the 3rd. So that seems like it's a decent spot. And we're already bouncing off 192.25. So I think it can be a long off this level, if anything. Nvidia, if it gets back to 122, I think that one can be all systems go because the NASDAQ and the rest of the market are holding out some pretty good buys. Still nothing over there on GameStop. We'll let you know if that makes a move.
All right, Apple's trying to come back up right now, so here it goes. We didn't buy the very bottom, but we're trying to get something out for flat here. We are long on Apple. Remember, our average price was 60s. So now it's going to show us out. Again, the average price is going to keep on changing. So here we go, right back up to the upside there. Nice job as they continue to talk a little bit more about Siri. So, all right, we're long now at 76. We just keep getting a little bit out here. We want to be able to hold on in case we do start to go. But again, it's been a little bit of a wild ride here. We take the long there, and getting out in the middle. So, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be about share sizing and where do you want to put the bigger load in and where not to. But there are some examples right now about Siri. So I'm going to put an offer up near 194, see if we can get something out there. Just trying to get out of some 10% spots there. And if we can get out at 194.50 where the 50 period is, that's pretty good. But again, like on news, like this is a news-based event, right? I mean, they're literally broadcasting their new products. So there's no bigger of a news event than this. And if they don't like it, and what I mean by that, analysts don't think that some of these products are going to add to the EPS or add to the services, anything like that, then yeah, I could see this getting tanked up. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening here with Apple. But we're on one anyways, man. Nvidia, we're still in that one. We've got Uber to the short side. We've got GameStop as $1 in the money. Yeah, we've got a lot on board over here. Just hoping that Apple can get going, which here it goes. Come on, Apple. I might take out another piece here, 67s, if we can, but just dancing around some of these levels. Apple, very, very dangerous. Welcome to the danger zone that is trading AAPL right now.
Yeah, during the news, like during the event, like you got to ear to the ground. Like if you have it in your ear and you can see where they're going step to step, that makes a lot of sense. I just jumped into, I wanted to find things that might be relatively strong or resisted that move down in the futures. One of them, I just went back over to Palantir because, look, this morning, just to give you a rundown, CrowdStrike being added to the S&P 500. It was CrowdStrike, GoDaddy, and KKR being added to the S&P 500. Palantir not, which I think a lot of people were anticipating. So Palantir was gapped down based on that. It was been strong since the open. I felt it was an overreaction and was going to buy dips. There was never a dip in Palantir. We bought VWAP the first time. That was the good trade on Palantir. Then I tried buying it off this 2280, which lost. It's been holding higher lows since, and this time holding VWAP. So we're going long off VWAP here in Palantir. Strong stock by the trend. I know it's down 1.7%, but that's because it was gap down. Since the open, this has actually been a decent long. Nvidia might be pulling right back into this 120 level. Whoops, there's no S on the end of Nvidia. Nvidia pulling right back into the 120. So if it bounces off VWAP a second time, looking for the reload on NVDA. I'm thinking differently on AMD, however. AMD has not popped. I want to short AMD and be long Nvidia. I know that sounds weird, but come on. I mean, Nvidia is clearly strong and it's positive, and AMD down 4%. I don't think you have to worry about these guys moving in the same direction. Obviously, they're going different ways here, AMD and Nvidia. So still sitting on the offer, trying to short in front of 161.5. He's got to be patient, see if we can pick it up. The other thing I have, the other level 2 I have up is GameStop. Just looking for something, like is it going to pop? Is it going to run into this 25 level? But nothing yet. You want to trade GameStop when it moves, and you want to be patient. If you're holding to the money, that's one thing. Like Sean's in the money on a 25s, you know, it's okay to hold it when you're with trend, but I don't think you want to get into position until something starts to happen on GME here.
We just covered some more Uber right here as Uber pulled back a little bit. This is a crazy one because we had news that they had lost or whatever, some sort of a gig agreement there. Made a move down, we shorted it. We're gonna be down on it, but we're still trying to hold out. I was sort of thinking, again, I was wondering if this was gonna be one of those plays that maybe Apple doesn't announce something about Uber or something, or I honestly thought that they might announce something about, I don't know, something about robo-taxi or something with Apple. I mean, that was a shot in the dark. As I was holding it, I just said I might as well hold it. I was using this top anyways, breaking through 69. We didn't really break through there, so we give it a little bit of love for Uber. See if this falls back down. If the market falls, great, for sure. But hey, what's up? You want to talk about Mobileye? We can do that in a minute. I just want to show you something here because, you know, this has become quite a fun trade. Needless to say here for Apple. I mean, this is going up and down. My net is like heart attack, not heart attack, heart attack, not heart attack. And I mean, it's just, you know, in and up and down $1 sometimes here on some of these moves. So just trade it appropriately. Everybody knows what their own risk limits are and stuff like that. I'm still waiting to see if it comes back into 192 where I'll buy a little bit more, but I'm not super impressed with anything. Not that that matters. It's just the price action is what it is here on Apple. We'll wait for it to do something, but for right now, it's kind of just hovering between 192.50 and 193.50. So until they're done this call, which I'm not sure when that's going to be, nothing super exciting for me quite yet. GameStop, same kind of thing, man. A little boring right now. We only have 20% left of this short. So initially, most of the outs were like for 50 cents, something like that, because we were really happy getting it out at that bottom. Then we're lucky enough to get a 24 break. But since then, it's just been hovering around. So new ways to express yourself with AI and Apple now. So I'm just listening to it to see if anything happens here. But for right now, not much going on with Apple keynote.
So just there's a question from Daniel in the chat. We appreciate you. Any idea why Hood is up? Because Robinhood is dope and they do dope things. As I steal a line from Chappelle Show sketch.
Yeah.
But no, I actually don't. There's not anything specific that I saw on Hood. I'll double check. And I'll let you guys know if I see anything specifically on Hood. It's the same thing as like Mobileye. Like Mobileye is up because there's this event that's supposed to be on Tuesday with Ford, and it's a squeeze name. Robinhood's just been on a tear, so it seems to me that technically, like all that happened is last week Robinhood broke highs, consolidated above said highs. Today it dipped back into the previous top, which was 22, and it bounced off 22. So went into Friday's low, which was the consolidation area, and then just went back into the trend that it's had. So Robinhood continues to be strong. I said this morning it was a mistake not to at least look at this one. I'll kick myself over it. It's basically the same chart as Palantir, except it has more continuation, oddly enough. So I don't know if we see VWAP again today. on Robinhood. But if we see 20 tomorrow, we should be involved in that one off the 20 level. I just got the dip back in Nvidia, so that's back into the 122. Sorry, check that 121 bid, which is also happening to be VWAP here on NVDA. Yeah, it's starting to get a little heavy in the market and Nvidia. If Nvidia loses here, like this support, I don't know, like the market's not going to have much of a chance here, not with the way Apple's trading. Like this is the morning breakout level, morning range top, current bid. If the market gives this up right now, I think we're just looking short into the close. But it's not over. I mean, Nvidia is bouncing. The market is holding 19.05 for the time being. So we'll try to respect it in that range. CFIS, when is the Rivian breakout? Your guess is as good as mine. I thought it would have taken 12 already. Everything has been all systems go since it bounced off 10. It's just very slowly grinding higher and no breakout through 12. There's nothing to complain about with this chart. Actually, this is it was my trade of the week 2 weeks ago, I think, and then it was off to 10, and it's slowly grinding higher. I think you just got to be patient with it. There isn't a specific catalyst right now. There's nothing in the news to take it through this $12 level, so you just got to wait for it. Randy, what's coming up for Rivian that could get it through this 12 level? It's been bouncing nicely, but no follow through.
Couple model refreshes, nothing major. I haven't seen, again, version 2.0 of what's already been out there for a couple years, but software updates, no recalls.
No recalls will obviously be good.
Not following in Ford's footsteps. It's all good.
Ford's up today. Ford's kicked. Why?
That's right. That's right, Randy.
What's the
Ooh.
Ford's having a great day.
Hello, Ford.
Look at Ford today.
Wow. Who knew?
Randy, don't talk about Ford. You know what I'm saying?
Go Ford.
Okay.
Yay Ford.
Yes.
Yes.
I've been messaging you in the chat, man. I was like, what?
Literally
I didn't know if you're getting a haircut or what.
Oh yeah, like the power outage that everyone scared us was going to happen. Yeah, that was.
I ain't scared. Power sees me trading and is like, no. You like Apple?
Yes.
We'll see what happens here. They're talking about AI as we
yeah.
speak right now, so. But it's not really moving much on this AI talk, down 2% today, but a nice move upside for Apple. So we're going to wait to see if it can hold out to something right now. I do want to talk just quickly here about NVIDIA, because if NVIDIA falls any more, wow, we should have just got long. I thought I was bidding 120.50. I am, 120.55. Okay, 120.55. So it's coming in right now. Apple came in a little bit. We got more long down there in front of 192. This breaks 192. See ya, and we will regroup after the call right now, because this has been the low. I mean, this low right there is 192 break. So if we break through that, then forget about it. The last time we were down here, we had a huge sell candle. I believe that's when everyone thought they were done without AI. Then they said, let's go to AI, and then it bumped back up, and that's where we were able to get long. And then now, I'm guessing they're just failing on whatever they are talking about. NVIDIA getting close to getting us longer down here.
Yes, sir. And look, VWAP went. Let me just get to Apple for a quick little second. Remember we talked about 192 quarter? So it just made that bounce. I have a line drawn on the chart, but it's adjacent to the level. The actual low actually happens to be 15. So this is the spot that I wanted to wait for. It is already the event bottom on Apple. Image wand they are talking about right now. As a non-user, I'll let other people comment on whether that's cool or not. But look, it's just off of this low. We said we wait for it, but NVIDIA does not hold on to VWAP. So I had it in. I have to zoom in and out because of the split. Sorry, guys. Bounced VWAP the first time. The second time we took the dip, it did not hold on. So I jumped out of it. So now Apple and Palantir, the only things I'm in. AMD looks like we've just missed our chance on AMD. At this
you're
point,
in a power meeting.
If I get 161, it's almost like, do I really even like it? It's consolidated lower. AMD about to run 160 and making fresh lows. So I've canceled my 161.50. The chances of getting that seem unlikely. And if it bounces from here, we'll just have to find a different level. The lower high is 160.77, so that would be a reasonable spot. But there's always a point where you like shorting back into VWAP or shorting back into previous high. But if it gets too far away, like I asked myself, well, if it's that strong going into that level, I got to look for something else. I want lower highs to short. If it gets to VWAP now, it's making higher highs. So not going to be involved in AMD, the price we want. Apple showing some pep in its step. If it gets to 193 before this thing is done, I'm scalping some out. It would be nice if they ended this, and then you could maybe calm down a bit. But it's at a key level at this low of the day.
Yeah, I think if they end it, I think it'll tank even harder. So I don't really know what to think right now. We got some more Nvidia down here, but just right here. So it's not really moving off of these bottoms yet. So let's wait to see what happens with Nvidia. I mean, we won't give it back today because we can't. I mean, we have to make a real bad trade to give this back. We were short $3, then we were long all the way up here. We didn't cash anything out. We are trying to now average into this trade. So let's wait to see if we can get a longer bid here on Nvidia and then make our move back up. So here we go. Nvidia right now trying to dance a little bit. We'll make decent on this if it can go back to the upside right now. We just bought some 30s, some 60s. My offer is at 95. I mean, we can put something out right now and get something out at 83. There it is. So again, without being too familiar with how this name really wants to trade moving forward, we're going to get some more out here and just watch to see. So, okay, nice move back up. Let's take something out at 121 now. And yeah, rock this thing back up to the upside. So again, more Nvidia buys right here. We're stacking up on our number one name. So there goes Nvidia, hopefully back up to the upside. And then we'll see. Apple's trying to go as well. We're a little reloaded back on this name. So let's get something out here around one. There we go. We already got a 123 after buying some of those dips. So far, so good here. As we're making a bit of coin here as the market comes back. Good trade there. Just silently putting 50 cents in our pocket there on Nvidia. Let's see if we get lowers here now. Not lower, but if we can get a lower bid, we'll take it. But right now, Nvidia back up to the upside. Your boy is all over this one.
Yeah, we just got about that 50-cent move on Apple as well, but it just turned at 193, so it's not out of the woods just yet on Apple. You're still getting some. I think the compression's good. It's a sign that things are calming down, but it's still got to hold that low. Palantir off VWAP. Again, just finding something relatively strong that was not was not reacting to the big down move that was carrying everything lower. So a strong stock that was not behaving
Let's go.
like the others. So we got Palantir in here off VWAP. Going to take some out going into 23. Not a lot of size on the offer there, but it was resistance for most of the afternoon. So high of the day sits at 23.15. We're going to be scalping into that. Love VWAP when it does hold. Apple now absolutely flying.
Let's
that
go. We're killing this.
192.25. That was that bottom on AAPL. Looks like we're going to take 94s in here. They're not done the event, but they're clearly liking it right now. If we lose 193.5, I'm jumping out. Otherwise, we hold till VWAP.
Oh man, this is why we're here, baby. Look at Nvidia. Nvidia up $1. That's a hot dog cannon. We are putting damage right now on this. Look at Apple. Look at these outs. It just all of a sudden, bang goes Apple. Bang goes Nvidia. Everything is going nuts. Oh yeah, Sharif, we're here, baby, all day as the professor checks in on us, see what's up. Look at this buy on Apple, 192.50. Come on, what are we even talking about? And then Nvidia, we put that one in. We are almost out of Nvidia. This move all the way up there, we just made $1 in 2 minutes on NVDA. So again, easily my number one stock here and the number one stock, I believe. Well, I can check back on CrowdStrike on the floor here with Nvidia. All right, GameStop as well. That's $1 in the money. Uber's kind of come back a little bit, but honestly, I could really care less about this. Here we go. Now we are $1.30 in the money for Apple. Let's take some more out. Why not? We've got a decent position on for Apple. We're getting a little bit back into life here. There goes Apple. Nice move. $1 in the money, Apple. $1 in the money, Nvidia. So far, so good. Let's have a sip of our coffee. We just made back. I mean, it's a good thing it happened, but we did pretty good right there.
Brendo?
Full integration, guys. That moved back up there. Full integration with ChatGPT 4.0 across the board, with Siri, with all the Apple intelligence features within devices as well. And it looks like iOS 18 on the OS side of things. So full integration across the board with ChatGPT 4.0 there.
So that's good fortune. Thankfully, we waited for one level. That's why we, when in doubt, zoom out. When a stock is going to the downside, if you can find a key level that double bottomed off that key price, 192.25, it's now starting to come back in. So they announced the integration with ChatGPT. There was a move. I said if it lost this local high, I was going to get out. It did very briefly. I had to take profit at VWAP, so that's why I'm not short it. That's why it's coded to purple, because I already had to take profit. But when it came back through, I got out. If I hadn't then, I'd already be out now. So quick little move off that bottom. Again, the event is still happening, and that ChatGPT integration is probably what a lot of people wanted to hear. I think for sure, like that was kind of the spot I think people were looking for. My buddy's all excited. He just messaged me again saying, yay, ChatGPT.
He messaged you? Okay, so. All right, no, just joking.
No,
We've already made the money.
He's been back and forth.
Yeah, of course. That's like what trading's all about, baby. Right there. Here we go, man. You want me to do something with Google? Yeah, what do you guys want? It's probably going the other way, would be my guess, but maybe not. No, there goes Google. So look, high tide lifts all ships, baby. Google is my #1 holding in the account. So we'll go hot dog cannon as there goes Google again. More and more news happening. I'm going to, I've unmuted a lot of things because I'm trying to listen to this Apple call. But you know what? I guess it doesn't really matter at this point because we've already got it. So there it goes, Apple right now. We just cleaned up a bunch of this at the 50-period moving average. That's going to be a good one. We'll still hold on now to Nvidia and see where that goes. But oh man, here we go. Google popping, I'll find out why in a minute, and we'll get more on news on that. But right now, Google is popping to the upside. Look, we're long Nvidia, we're long Apple. The two biggest names in the world, again, we're long on. This is multiple times today we've hit these names back and forth, but we do not trade Google long. But there goes Google, nice move back to the upside. So we'll wait.
You said we don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably find out, but I wasn't listening to it. Yeah, there it goes. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I thought maybe there was a chance they were doing something with Gemini. Maybe they are as well. It would not surprise me if Google outsourced or if Apple outsourced all of this, man. The smart and rich just keep getting richer and richer. And right there, props it up to anybody that held on or was trading Apple with me right here. This is a big one, man. Now $1.20 in the money. Next stop, we just took another piece out. Let's break through 194 and get going, and then we'll see about holding the rest of them. It's Google. It's moonshot right now to Apple. It's moonshot to Google. Nvidia, we just have $1 in as well. Right now, this has been a great afternoon. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, the middle of the day was kind of annoying, and then the event was kind of a pain. But I think now, like getting back to green is fortunate. Google, as we said, there's nothing really going on. There was a story on Microsoft and Call of Duty, but it's Alphabet trying to break last week's highs. If it gets through 78, that's nasty. I want to be buying dips here on Alphabet the way this is accelerating. I don't want to take a 177 break when this just went $3 and I have no idea why. So we're going to back off that notion, look for a pullback. 75 seems like a pipe dream, 75 or 76. I just want to see a curl, play a curl. But Apple, like I said, we got out. I'm looking for a higher low here. If it bounces off the same level, fine. 192.25, I like that level. If it can bounce a higher low off 93, I think that makes sense as well. I might take another leg out of Palantir. Don't want it losing that $23 level. So they are wrapping up the event. Tim Cook is wrapping up the event here. 2:40, it's been like an hour, 45 minutes. So I think the usual is like 90 minutes. I guess that's right on par. So they're about to end the event.
I thought we started at 12. Was it 12 or 1? I can't remember.
Oh, wasn't it 1? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was 1. It was 1, right?
1.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it doesn't really matter. They're wrapping up the event right now. Just be wary of a potential volume spike like the second it's over. So, like, I wouldn't want to be getting the long and then get wicked out at the bottom right as they're wrapping up the event. Maybe just have a wider stop or something like that or wait till they actually finish it here. So Apple moving back into the downside, 192.25 is where I like a reload. And then Alphabet, as we mentioned, maybe making the bigger move, starting to pull back in here, Alphabet. Broke through 176, so 175 even would be the next level to look at. That's the opening range top, possibly turning into a bottom here for Google. So big move upside on Alphabet.
All right, I mean, we're getting a little bit more out here of Apple because it is trying to dance around just a little bit. I guess we'll wait to see if there was any news on pricing of items or hardware. It doesn't seem like there is an announcement of anything to do with anything other than iOS and some of the software stuff. So there it is, now ended. I'm going to try to go long if we get some bumps, but I don't know. Very, very comfortable now holding the rest of this. Let's see if we get 194.50 or so. That'll be my offer. That's the only spot I'm offering right now. I really, really like this Apple trade, just to hold it for the rest of the day. Nvidia, again, like what a monster. We'll just continue to, honestly, it's too bad about the chart is like that, but I mean, short, long, long again. Like, I mean, that's it for me. We'll wait to see what else happens there. Nvidia still $1, GameStop still $1, Apple now $1. I mean, I think Apple explodes from here. Yeah, Gonzalo says he thinks Apple's going to go higher. I don't know what's going to do, but we're long in position, completely fine for this move higher. So let's go, Gonzalo and everybody else out there. I like Apple. I like it a lot.
Yeah, event now officially over, so we can close that. Don't need it. Apple event is officially over, so I think it's going to be a little bit more stable at this particular point. Still holding 193.5. I want 193s if we're going to catch it. Google is starting to pull back in here, so we just might have missed 175 quarters. Yeah, it just bounced off the $0.50 level. Anytime it dips and misses you by 10 cents, I think sitting at the same level is kind of foolish, because if it takes that, it's probably going to go even lower. So the bottom it just put in was 175.30. I think either it holds that or we look for something a little bit deeper on Alphabet. Palantir is still looking okay. GameStop, like I said, if GameStop actually makes a move, let you guys know. Still have AMC in the back of my mind, wanting to short that one on any GameStop moves to the upside.
All right. Yeah, so I mean, Apple's just dancing around here right now. It's 245. You know, we're just in chill mode right now. We will obviously start to get excited once and if something starts to happen here, including pushbacks in for Apple. We'll start to buy some of those dips near 192. But other than that, I think we're pretty fine with all of this. It did end. I still think that it moons from here. So let's wait to see. I mean, I have 194.30 offer. So 37, actually. I don't know why I picked 37, but I'm just going to keep it there. Too much of a random price for me not to. Let's see what winds up happening there for Apple. Uber and Nvidia, they're all in the pocket, as well as GameStop down $1. We can look at GameStop quickly. So again, we were long, took some profit there, about $1. Tried to hold the long through 26, did not do that. Slap a fail on the 26. Come on, Apple. But right now, we got into this zone, didn't we, on Friday? Yeah, and then we had one bump up where we took the 200 period up to 29 and then kind of faded right off of that. So if we look something similar, we're at the 200 period now. So I would almost treat VWAP as kind of the next line of sand there. So that's 25.50. So maybe a bump back up there into 29.50 or so for GameStop could be something. So that might be the extra level there, but again, not sure where GameStop will stop, if anywhere. Want to still buy some bottoms there. The stop I have is a break. I don't even have a stop, actually. What am I talking about? I have a buy to go longer through 25 right now. So taking out this 25.25, I have a buy to go longer is what I was looking at. So I don't even have a stop down here, but I think 23 makes the most sense. So we'll sit here. Now that we're not as distracted with Apple, we can sit here and watch GameStop. So a bid through 23 out or a break higher through 25, and we'll be buying some more. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Pretty interesting stuff, but not that interesting, especially with GameStop not moving around. So I'd like to see a little bit more of a dip buy opportunity here.
I mean, yeah, but we have seen this phenomenon where, like, in the last hour of the day, sometimes when GameStop looks the most dead, you just randomly, out of nowhere, catch a bit of a bid and it starts to run. So, I'm looking for, if it happens, it happens. I don't have to, anticipate it. Oh, I just got the dip by an Apple. Bonkzilla just said that, we'll get to Novavax in a second. Novavax getting crushed, apparently, but I'll get there in a quick second. Apple just pulled back into 193, so the higher low, it already put it in once at 85, and now it's trying to bounce off it one more time here. Google is really still dipping. It's basically 7 cents out of the money, so that dipped back into the 135 level as well. So we're playing higher low off of 192.85 on Apple. If it gets back into this 94 level, I think that's a take profit out in front. Look, Novavax, I liked Moderna a little bit this morning, but Novavax is taking it on the chin, SSR. It's not a good look. The good news for them is the $15 level is huge. This looks a lot like GameStop's chart when it went all the way up and then came right back in. Sometimes when you have a breakout like this, it'll sit there off the bottom for a couple of days, lull everybody into a false sense of malaise, like nothing is happening, and then it catches a bit. So it's given everything back that got put in the last couple of sessions. If it holds on to 15, maybe it goes squeezing again for NVAX. My daily chart's not really loading up. It's still holding a good, strong upward trend on NVAX, but my daily's not cooperating this afternoon.
I mean, honestly, guys, like, all right, I'm just getting some more out here of GameStop at 24. We're short, right? So I was just looking at it like if we break higher, I don't necessarily. So we'll take $1 on that one right there. And then honestly, the stupidest move of the day was not shorting Google when you guys all brought it to the attention. And I'm just like, I don't know why this is going up. Like, again, was listening to the conference, didn't have any of the news in my ear, but again, apparently nothing. So there's the shot up there. I was wondering if maybe someone fat-fingered it, thinking that they were mentioning something about Gemini or whatever on Google. But at the end of the day, huge move up, fade time on that one. Rising tides does not lift all ships. So right now, we'll wait to see what happens here with Apple. So Apple's right back into this area. Not worth anything yet for me. That dipped down there, 192.90. I was bidding 80s, I believe. No, much lower than that. I'm down here near 192 to put on some kind of shares. So we'll see how far it does dip down. But I'm waiting for a 192-ish look here. We're already long 192.50. So let's just hold out on Apple. Uber's doing its thing. We'll have to have a look at that, as our level on this is 69. So if we're going to break through on this one, then we have to be careful. We'll take a little bit more short here at 90s, but we'll have to wait to see Uber breaking a little bit higher. We have that stop just north of 69. Target area, again, right where we bounced from, 68.60. So let's put some bids in there and see if we're lucky enough to get those.
Yeah, just we mentioned the news on Uber, didn't we?
Yeah, they lost that.
Yeah, so they basically just lost an appeal
decision
to overturn California's gig worker law. They got pumped to the downside. Lyft got pumped. DoorDash took it on the chin. Instacart as well. All four of those names were to the downside on that hint. I actually lost going short the stock, and I should have just been involved in the one level and taken it out. Like, I had the short back in. It went right back into a key level of 67.5, and then I decided to reload it. That's a mistake. Like, to me, that's a mistake. It's like, this either works or it doesn't. Usually that's how I'll play. We didn't, so we ended up reloading it, and then when it wicked out, I even took it a third time. So the reason I'm down on the stock, I think, is it's not impatience, it's breaking a rule. Usually I want to short that one back into a key level on the news. You've seen us do it before. The key level was simply this Friday, like Friday's low, and then short back in when it rejected it there. Obviously, it's a bit off to the races. So a good rebound for Uber. I want to say that DoorDash is doing an even better one. DoorDash is actually at the high of the day and about to break out. So they just took that news and said, who cares? They're already breaking it back into the upside for Dash. But it was a big volume event. So we got the scalp trade off of Apple. Higher low just got put in 193. That's a double bottom off 192.88 was that low. We got it back through 93. Scalps them out 40s. I'm getting out off 94. It's feeling like lower highs, and with the event done, I kind of felt there'd be like a sell to the news type of thing. And overall, that's more or less what the story has been. There's been good bounce plays, but I'm not completely convinced it's going to move. So I'm going scalp mode on that. Alphabet on the dip, it held. I thought 175 would happen. It ends up holding 15, so we went long off that bounce. If it gets to 76, this is running out of steam, and I'm still not seeing any news on this. If there was news, I think we'd like it even more, but I'm playing that rubber band back into the 75. For now, consolidation is what you're seeing in Google. Palantir, which is the other name that we're long. Palantir has just been a beast today, and reality being, I said this before, if the thesis, and the thesis for myself at least, was it's an overreaction that it was the only thing that I looked at on my quote board that was down more than 2.5% this morning because they didn't get into the S&P 500 and others did. Like, that's it. Like, that's the reason it was down, despite being in an upward trend. So I was looking for longs. Just for some reason didn't like the long off of like 22.5 or a simple breakout trade. I was looking for a dip buy, thinking it might sell going into it. But so far, so good for them. And the other side of that, which we haven't mentioned, is the rocket ship that's CrowdStrike. Up almost 10% and close to taking out its highs. They're the ones that did get the addition to the S&P 500. Double check when that date is. Actually, I'm not sure the exact date that they'll be added, but you'll know well in advance. It's going to be a massive buy and balance that afternoon, and I'm sure there'll be some kind of a trade for us that day.
Okay. I mean, GameStop just touched. I mean, it went a little low there. It got to 2370 or so. So there's that possibility. I mean, we just touched 2360, 2370 on GameStop. So some kind of a move may be happening right there. But look at this buyer. So there's a nice little buyer of 70,000 shares at 85. So it has to break back down below that before we get going on anything. So that is, of course, GameStop back down in as we continue to watch out for that. All right, my Unity is now back connected, so that's all good. All right, what else is moving around here? I mean, maybe the NASDAQ is starting to break a little bit higher right now, which is great for us as we continue to hold on. We are now still that dollar in the money on Apple. So, that's a good trade. We're still $1 in the money on Nvidia and watching out to see if Uber wants to break lower and then watching out for GameStop. If there's another stock or anything that you want me to cover, of course I will do it. Just slip it there into the chat. Boeing 190, okay, moving down, but not doing too much right there. Boeing a 189.50 possible bottom there as well. So that could be coming into play. 190.50 on Boeing. As a play, as I just continue to watch GameStop. Oh, iBit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you have to pay for shorts on this one.
I did.
So right there, $40 was a good
on the high of the day.
Yeah.
I went for that. You know that retracement, like we talked about this, like the pullback or the dip off of a massive like round dollar number. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna play this this push off of 70,000 over under. And then I did it, I was in it, I just didn't take the second shot or the third shot at it. So I had
Shopify.
Yeah, it is what it is. So I shorted it off that local high when it was kind of testing that 40,000 or 70,000. iBit was at 40 at the time. It did make a pullback into VWAP, but I like the trade in general. Obviously at that time of day, I ended up getting out of the trade and then getting up so I can take a bit of a break, but that was the wrong time. It was a good dip off the 70,000 level and the highs on iBit. It's a good setup on Bitcoin as a day trader. Typically when it gets to one of those big levels, if it doesn't break through and hold above, the retracement has been pretty solid, at least the times that I've seen it. Since we've had iBit, I want to say that that's been a solid trade in there. And it was Sebastian just said in the chat that Hood was better than Palantir. I don't disagree. Robinhood performed much better than Palantir today. Palantir was good off the open. Robinhood was better. I didn't have a reason to be looking at Robinhood other than it was good last week. So, sometimes it is what it is. You pick the stock. I thought there was a reason for Palantir today because of CrowdStrike and the whole not getting into the S&P 500. Whereas Robinhood just continued the trend it was on and was spectacular. So, good for them. It bounced right off the bottoms on Friday and right back into Friday's highs. Inside day for Robinhood resulted in 5%. That's just great.
So we upgraded Shopify. Thanks, Fennel, there in the chat. We upgraded Shopify at $57, $58. Now you're at 63. You want to talk about trade of the week? We had talked about this a couple of times when we had our old podcast. Make sure you go join our new podcast, the Freedom and Wealth podcast, which is actually episode 2 just aired, and it was done quite well. So go find it out there. How to Master the Game of Money, episode 2 right now. Almost 1,000 views. Let's see, wow, 998 subscribers. We could get, let me just refresh this to see if we are over that 1,000 subscribers. 999 right now. So everybody run and get to subscriber number 1,000, I'm sure. I'm just going to refresh this right now, and I bet you we are over 1,000. Hopefully someone didn't unsubscribe and subscribe. Still 999, so you can be that 1,000th subscriber. So many different podcasts to follow, but why not follow this one right now as we continue to get more views than subscribers. So that was good. We'll refresh it one more time and see if we can get that 1,000. There it is. Thank you so much. So we'll go Yahoo! It takes 2 weeks. We got it up to 1K subscribers. Again, some little videos will be posted here. Best kept secret, go find out what that is right now, as there's more different things here. Trading hacks, becoming a trader, some fun things there on the Freedom and Wealth podcast as we continue.
The most interesting thing is
put up big things.
No matter when you get into the game and get in the real estate game, which will be fantastic in terms of investment and diversifying, no matter what, apparently you always pay the exact same down payment, regardless of where you buy or what your situation is. You'll end up in exactly the same. I thought that was hilarious. I didn't.
What was that one?
No, it was because, well, not to spoil anything, but when you guys were both
You can
talking
spoil
about
it, it's out already, yeah.
both Brendan and Sean were talking about their experiences putting down payments.
Oh,
on
and we
their
had the
property.
similar amounts.
It was basically the same. If it's within a couple of grand for a down payment and the actual price of it was a townhouse for Brendan, for you it was a condo. I remember that condo, great times.
Yep.
I got stories about that condo because Sean was out of town at a concert with, I'm going to tell a story anyways.
Yeah.
Out of town at a concert with his, with Mike. Was it Mike?
Probably, yeah.
It might have been your brother Mike. And we had our fantasy football draft. All the guys were in town, like some of the guys from out of town from our high school. And the only person, the only guy that had a place downtown was Sean. So we're like, well, he's not going to be around. He's like, well, you guys can just chill out at my place. And which we did. And I will say that the thing that was broken had nothing to do with me. It was not.
Was it a hole in the wall or something? I can't remember.
No. It was, I think we broke a lamp or something.
Oh, a lamp? Okay.
There might have been some fake wrestling after we came back from the club.
Good.
But it was a good time. But it was Sean was a good sport about it. He didn't mind.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was so long ago. That's no problem.
But the most important thing is that you do get into the market and listen to the pod. You'll get some fantastic ideas. What it takes, not just to succeed in trading, but like the traits for any side gig. Certainly,
Apple's falling down.
Yeah, Apple's starting to come down here. I'm going to get back to Apple. We can get back to the market. Apple's starting to give it back up again. I think there's maybe one more salvo in the stock. Sorry, I was at Robinhood on my mind. One more salvo, and it'll be a triple bottom at 192 quarters this time. We scalped it last time. These wicks are real, and this is real. It was at 94 and pulled back into 92.80, and then right back into 94, and then now back in 92.6 and right back into 93.20. So if you get that buy, it's bouncing 50 cents real quick, really, really quick. So if you can get those moves, I think you'll want to here in AAPL. Still under some pressure, but the buyers are starting to respect this 192 half, let's call it, on Apple. There was something else I was going to talk about. It might have been, it was Coinbase. We're talking about 70,000 and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that pullback off 70,000, Coin did not care at all. It's still pressing higher. 250 is come and gone. It's at $253, up 3%. I think this is more just about a Coinbase story. It's like Robinhood's going higher and holding higher. Coinbase is now holding this dip into previous resistance. So the bull case on Coin, right back on play. Bounced off the 50 period, had a huge pullback on Friday, and it's right back on the bid here in Coinbase. I think it's a very, very big sign that despite Bitcoin not holding 70,000, this is making a big bounce.
Yeah, we're getting a nice little bounce there on Apple as well. We didn't get quite down into the levels that I was thinking about. But Apple. All right, we didn't quite go over Shopify. Look, I really like the stock, up 3%. And I mean, when a stock is like this, you generally want to get pullbacks into the 50-period moving average. So you are into one right now, but 63.50. I mean, we've really, really liked this stock for the last couple of days. I mean, breaking through that 60 was good. We got an upgrade just last week. It took 60. Now you're up to the top level here. This name probably worth buying off that 50 period. We broke it, though, a little bit. And how far did we go down? We went 97 to 87's a dime piece lower. I mean, that's not... So that's 43s. We could probably take something now on Shopify and see if it wants to hold, and then just keep on climbing there, up 3%, really on nothing other than there might be some upgrades. I mean, it's been a pretty active stock on that front, but Shopify right now, nice upside move. I like the stock. I still you stay long on this name, even a 20-minute chart. There's going to be no levels because all that garbage is down here. So there it goes, nice upside move, taking out some levels this morning, and what a great trade that was, breaking through 63. So again, whoever was mentioning that and whoever has it, congratulations on that one, as we'll get those charts back up right there. Shopify. I like the long, and I feel like we could probably buy that. Where's the one I'm looking for? That one? No, that one. No, that one. That one. This one? This one right there. So we could probably get Shopify back into 63.40, maybe 63.20, 63. Good little support levels right there. I still feel like this market wants to follow a little bit of Apple, but I feel like it may be getting tired of it as Apple just kind of hovers around right here. So I say we just continue with the thought that we really like the stock and we really like the company. So Apple upside moves. Let's continue with the long. We're $1 in the money on that one, as Apple's been really good to us since sort of the iOS talk. So good job there. A couple longs. Never really stopped out of any of our longs. So far, so good. Last bid was down here at 192.50. We should have did it again, but still making moves. Nvidia's still there. That's about it for me. And then Uber, I feel like we're going to wind up losing on this, but I'm not going to get out until it breaks 69.
69er. Yeah, I think it's telling at least that DoorDash is taken that news and broken out the top, and Uber can't seem to, so at least it's relatively weak. There is this small cap, well, it's a penny stock right now, but it's been up and down above $1 a few times. This KWE, so it's halted a couple times today. I see a lot of people talking about this. I want to call it Kanye West, but it's KWE, it's KWESS. Microsystems. KWESST Microsystems.
Interesting.
But like, I'm just going to show you guys.
West?
No, but this is why I almost called the stock Kanye West, because when you pull up my trade ideas, if I just take a very quick glance, can we come to my screen for a second, Ramin? When I take a quick look at it, I just see K West Microsystems. So I'm calling this the Kanye West of stocks. Yeah. It's a very, very small, it's a 7 million float, and it's done 300 million shares in volume, so you let that sink in for a second. We think it's funny when something does 10 times its volume. This one doing 40-something times its float today, up 144%. There's a bit of a battle happening at $1, but much like what I thought about that hover, HOVR, the play wasn't at $1. The play was playing it off of VWAP, and this is a wider range. Like VWAP here is like 85 cents into $1. It's moving way more than HOVR was. Like HOVR was like a very tight, like $1 into 108 and then $1 and it couldn't hold on. But this is a much wider range on this KWE. So I think playing it off of VWAP matters more than a round number. It doesn't care about $1 the way it's trading. It's simply trading higher low in here off of 85 cents, and then this top here at 110, 115 looks more reasonable. So I'd look for a double, little dip here into 85. Still time, it's power hour, there's 50 minutes to go in the day, so this could put in a late run. It's holding above VWAP, it's trending up to the upside here on KWE. I see this other thing KIT people are talking about, but KWE seems to be doing, maybe KIT's got good volume as well. Yeah, KIT's volume is much better than I thought here, up 170 million, although it's 16 or 26 cents, so relatively speaking, that's not as much volume, but pretty strong on KIT. I don't know what the news is here with KIT.
We went short on Uber more there at 68.90. We actually just punched the short. It went down to 82, which is our price. Like that's where we're short. Well, it says 83, but whatever. So I'm gonna wait to see what it does down here at that level. Cancel my bids. I'm bidding 70s here. Not a great. Actually, maybe I should go to 75 a little bit. Okay. We do have a move down in. Let's just see what winds up happening into 76, 77 now for Uber. That's what I'm going to bid, just to see if we do get a little bit of a move down right now. Nvidia still in that dollar club, just there right now. It's been hovering up here this whole time. We definitely were able to buy the dip there. I don't know why we weren't standing there again to buy that dip at 120. 120.50. We'll pay a little more attention. Let's go upside right now with Apple as well. Again, we're also $1 in the money on this one off those dip buys, but a lot of executions today as we go algo-y on that. Other than that, though, like Nvidia is still the $1. I'm just waiting. My biggest position right now is not GameStop, but look what we have on board right now, actually. It's $1 in the money on Apple. It's exactly $1 in the money on GameStop. It's exactly $1 in the money on Nvidia. And it's exactly flat right now on Uber. So far, so good with all of this. Yeah, go ahead, and then we'll bring on Danielle.
Yeah, just two things before we bring Danielle Shea on. One, Bitcoin just lost VWAP, bit of a move downside. And I wanted to answer this question from Brian Casper. I thought GME was short sell restricted today. Can someone explain how Sean is short? I don't really understand how that works. So it's a good question. Short sell restricted doesn't mean that you cannot short the stock. It just means that if you want to go short or enter a short position by removing liquidity from the bid, which is to hit the bid the people are on the bid for, instead of waiting around on the offer for someone to fill you, if you want to hit the bid to go short, it has to be an uptick, meaning the last print has to be green. So only if the last print is green can you then hit the bid to go short. It's called the uptick rule. So short sell restricted just means they implement the uptick rule for that day and the following day. You can still go short. It's the manner in which you're able to go short and the mechanics of getting short. So sometimes it means we have to sit on the offer, and if you get picked up, you get picked up. Like when I shorted this today, I was on the offer getting picked up. I wasn't hitting the bid on GME. So with that said, hopefully that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, just look up the uptick rule, which is, it's been around for a while now. But we've got Danielle Shea, and post-split Nvidia makes it more fun for options, which is her specialty. Is Danielle? There you are.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Well, it's a heck of a lot more fun now that Apple's moving around and Nvidia is a lot cheaper. But first things first, like the split happens, and it's this big, massive event that everyone's looking forward to. Does this change anything for your approach to Nvidia right off the bat? Do you care? Do you not care? Does it make you want to be more or less active? What's your first take on the split?
Well, I think that the split is fantastic news. I mean, it has brought the cost down so much, so it's going to be so much more affordable to many more people, many more traders, and it's also going to make the options significantly more affordable as well. So if you look at the stock price now and look at our new upside targets, and we can also check out the options chain to see how the volume is coming in. But I mean, overall, I think the stock looks great. It just pulled back to the 8 EMA on the daily chart, which is a pretty normal pullback. It is a bit of an aggressive zone, but throwing some targets up here, it looks like the next upside target is going to be right around 130. So I always like those key psychological values, especially in the options market. We can go ahead and look at the options chain and see what kind of pricing we're dealing with and what kind of volume is coming in. But overall, I'm very happy about the split. I think that it's exciting, and I think that we'll probably see a little bit more movement before we see consolidation after the news wears off. But overall, I mean, look at these prices, guys. These are great.
Up is fantastic. That's what we always want to see. We're excited to see it. The other one I want to quickly ask you about, of course, is going to be Apple. So, the event was today. Clearly, it was a huge volume event, super volatile, moving around all day long as a day trader. I mean, the moves that you saw in Apple are unlike anything outside of an earnings day for them. So my question would be, what's your, now that the event has happened and we sort of got this sell the news, for lack of a better term, we've just rejected a triple top on the daily. I'd like to think that some of what they said was good. My buddy's a fanboy. He thinks it's fantastic. But unlike Nvidia, which pressed through those highs and has been an absolute rocket ship, Apple's been playing catch up just to get to this level. So do you have any concerns that we couldn't break through on this news, and if anything went red?
So when you look at Apple, I mean, I did see a few news flashes, and they all tried to highlight AI, of course, because that's the big news this year and last year, right? That's been the main driver with stocks. Yes, it is normal. Buy the rumor, sell the news. We're seeing Apple down 1.7% right now. It is concerning to me that we haven't been able to get through these previous highs with Apple. $200 has been a key area of resistance for quite some time. You can see that there's been multiple times in spots with this stock where it's been unable to get through it. So, I mean, for me, it's got to get through that $200 price point before I can look for higher price targets, obviously, and before I can get too much more excited about it as well. Because if you look at the rally that it's had, I mean, this is a phenomenal post-earnings rally. So on one hand, it's kind of like, well, it could be a lot worse, right? I mean, it's gapped all the way from 171 up into here, 185, 186, and it's traded all the way up into 196. So I don't know, maybe give it a little bit of a break just because it has already had a big move, but I don't think it's going to break through 200 on this news.
It doesn't, okay. Well, you want to go to me now or to Neil? What do you want to do here? Let's go back over. Thank you, Danielle. Nice to see you one more time. Thank you for joining here. Normally we're on the recap show. We'll be joining. Oh, I got your message. Maybe I'll switch with Chris Brecher and see if we can go over Broadcom tomorrow. But again, that was another name that you and I had talked about many times. Broadcom, AVGO. You heard anything about a possible split on this one? I mean, this is also $1,400. You want to talk about a possible catalyst with earnings coming through. Broadcom tomorrow, plus split, plus Nvidia reacting well off this split. You like Broadcom here?
I do like Broadcom here, and I would love to hear some split news from Broadcom. So hopefully they've been paying attention to the way that the splits have impacted a lot of other names this year, because, I mean, why not split it? It's pretty expensive at this point, right? So if you look at Broadcom, it looks like it actually made a new high today, which is fantastic. My next upside targets in this stock are going to be right around 1,500 at that key psychological value, and then 1,500, about 1,586, right around there at the 1618 extension. The earnings report, I mean, I think they're set up and positioned well for it. And they have a pretty large expected move. So 76-point expected move here. It's going to be a big mover.
Danielle, not to interrupt, but we got to, because right now Apple is absolutely mooning. So I know you'll like that one. So hot dog cannon for all the Apple positions right now. There it goes. Nice move to the upside. We are now $1.70 in the money on Apple. Nvidia continues to go to the upside. We're now $1.50 in the money on Nvidia. Danielle, the market is very, very resilient. I mean, I don't know if there's anything other to say other than that. I'm just looking at the chart right here. You can see NASDAQ looks like it wants to take out this high again. We could make a brand new intraday high coming up here of 19,158 on the triple Qs. I mean, I think when we look at the NASDAQ and we look at it on a daily chart, potentially overextended a little bit, but I know you're kind of like me as well. We don't want to stand in front of any trends here. Was there anything on maybe the put-call ratio that might be getting, this is something that you've indicated with me before as well, that sometimes that can get a little bit off putting on that one. Is there something here that you're noticing right now in the options market with specifically the SPY or the Qs?
Sure. So just starting off with the NASDAQ futures, you know, what I love about it is that we have consolidation on a couple of these time frames. And I mean, because we have that consolidation, it can keep going because it can break out, right? So I think that just with the past few days being a little bit sideways, it gave it a little bit of energy. I think that the next upside target here is going to be 19,500. Again, this is the NASDAQ futures. And then after that, 19,700. If you look at the put call ratio, it has been pretty interesting, but it also hasn't been as low as what you would think. So normally, once the put call ratio gets too low, it gets to a spot where the market can't really go higher because everybody's already long, and you know, you have to look for a reversal. In this case, the put call ratio, I mean, it's been around 0.69 up into about 0.9, which is pretty normal. I mean, I would get concerned when it's down and it stays down at the 0.6 level. If it goes below 0.6, that's where it's really too low. But with the way that it's been bouncing higher and then pulling back, bouncing higher and pulling back, you know, that's people getting long and then people getting short. It's not just everyone staying long all the time. Right. And so when you have both sides of the market playing together, that's what allows it to be able to move up and to be able to move down instead of only being able to fall one way. So I would say based on the put call ratio, there's still upside potential here, which I love.
Oh, I love that too. I love that. When you love something, I love something. You know what the market loves these days? Anything to do with Eli Lilly. We just had a little bit of breaking news there. There was 11-1 unanimous vote for their Alzheimer's drug. So, I mean, we talked about Ozempic and the sort of the moves that that's been having with some of these GLP-1. This was one of my trades for earnings. I mean, you've nailed a couple of them as well. We nailed Lilly in front of earnings. We just bought this name at $713 not too long ago. And now you're really breaking out here. It's a very expensive name because of the spread, I feel like, to trade what we're doing. So I'm going to ask you from an option standpoint, is there anything to do here with Eli Lilly other than just let this thing continue to go? Is there maybe a trade where if I'm long shares, which we are, can I maybe collect some premium, try to protect this position? But we're having just a huge extended move on Eli Lilly right now. Looks like we might even be sniffing out that $900 level. Any strategies for maybe covering some of the shares we already have, or is it just on a runway? Maybe we don't do that.
So, you can always sell covered calls against your stock, if you have at least 100 shares. In this kind of situation, I would want to be careful about it just because it is a bit of a runaway name.
So strong,
You just always have to be aware of the fact when you're selling covered calls, if you don't manage your position properly, and for example, if it goes in the money by too much, you could lose your stock. So that's why you have to be paying attention to it and closing out those calls if you don't actually want to give up your stock, right? So, I mean, for something like this, as long as it doesn't have short interest, I would say it's okay as long as you do it far enough out of the money and it's still worth it for you. I don't have a high short float on the name and it is pretty extended. I agree with you on the $900 price point right here. That definitely looks like it's a bit of a magnet target there. So you just have to think about what is your goal overall with the shares that you own. Like for me personally, I'm definitely building long-term positions in long-term stocks to create a situation in which I'm able to regularly sell covered calls. It's just something that you have to make sure you're, paying attention to so you don't lose your stock if you don't want to.
Right, and that was, key point there. I don't have 100 shares of Eli Lilly, so that would be another thing that unfortunately I'm not unable to do anything worthwhile for that. So thanks for covering that one. And yeah, I have the short float as well. Absolutely nothing. I mean, 0.63 if you come to the screen here. Ramin, there it is on trade ideas. All right, you've given us a couple ideas. You've nailed Microsoft. That was a big one that you've had on the show before as well. Is there anything potentially, as we watch out to see what Apple's doing, went all the way to 194 right now? We've talked about Broadcom and your sort of thoughts there. Is there potentially anything else that you're looking forward to coming up? Maybe there's a late reporting name at the end of June or something like that. I know you like sort of a 3-week runway for options plays. Anything that's catching your eye before the next time we see you?
Sure. So, I mean, we can look at Microsoft and Tesla. I mean, Microsoft, now that it's up above the 50 simple, looks a lot better. So, Microsoft was kind of stuck underneath this 50 simple. But at this point, it has that consolidation. It's starting to break out. I mean, I think you could trade Microsoft back up to that previous high at least. That would be my first target. And then after that, I'd be targeting 440. I think that one, is pretty decent, strong name. You're seeing some regular buying. And now that you've breached resistance, I think it's a pretty solid ticker to look at to the upside. Now, to the downside, I've been eyeing Tesla, and we've been going back and forth on this one in our trading room because we have, some of the guys that really want to go long this name and they're eyeing it for a breakout, but I'm watching it for a breakdown below that 50 simple. Ooh. I mean, I just think it's rallied into resistance so many times. And at the end of the day, I don't really care which way it goes. You could trade a breakout to the upside or a breakdown, but I just think this one is suspiciously bearish, and a break below 172, you could get a pretty quick flush to the downside.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I like that Tesla move. Did you have something to say on Tesla? I know you had it up.
Well, I was just gonna say there, Danielle. Like, as a day trader, we're all hoping that 172 doesn't break. I mean, look at this chart. Like, it's insane. This is a 15-minute chart. I mean, if you just waited more or less every single day for a test of 173 or 172 take your shot at the long. I mean, I can't remember the last time. Tesla doesn't do this. It's insane. Like, we don't see Tesla hold a level like that. So I would agree with you. We like flat bottom breaks, But this is one I'm hoping Tesla does not break this flat bottom. I recently bought this at 151 bucks, and I feel like it'll be at 151 within 1 week of breaking that level if it does. So once again, I'm kind of hoping that your logic is not as sound as it always is, Danielle.
Like I said, we've been going back and forth on this one in our trading room as well. A couple of the guys are long and they're looking for a breakout up above 185. And I mean, hey, I own the shares. I wouldn't complain if it broke out to the upside. I see that negative momentum, negative volume. It's down again today. I mean, it's stuck underneath that 100 simple. It looks a little bit dicey to me, but I will say that, with the earnings report coming up, because it did have that surprise breakout move last quarter, if it stays in consolidation for another 2 weeks and we don't see a breakdown, that will be the point where I'll say, okay, it's held this entire time. We haven't seen a breakdown. We're getting into that pre-earnings time frame. People are going to be looking at what it did last quarter, and last quarter it had this major gap higher. So that could be the positive catalyst that Tesla needs to eventually break out to the upside if it doesn't end up breaking down.
I'll take that. I'm perfectly happy with that analysis there. Just a month and a week, I think, until earnings for Tesla. See, like earnings season ends and it just starts right back up again, and that's what's the best thing about these markets. So, look, thank you so much. You've had a lot of great ideas and a lot of good talk in there. You can always find Danielle on the Twitter machine and on our show a couple of times a week. So I know you'll be joining Sean on the aftermarket show as well to drop a little more science for everybody. Just let everyone know where they can find you quickly, and maybe where they can find some of those awesome sweaters.
Yeah, of course. You can find me on YouTube at Trader Danielle. Check it out. You can also find me on X at Trader Danielle.
The colorful one.
And
Yeah.
still working on my merch. Man, it takes so much longer than I ever would have thought, but I swear it's almost ready.
As always, one of our favorite guests and a lot of love in the chat. We get a lot of great questions. Save them because you'll be back on in a couple of days in the aftermarket show with...
Tomorrow, I think.
Was it tomorrow?
Tomorrow or Wednesday? What day? I'm not doing it Wednesday. What day are you scheduled, Danielle?
I'm scheduled on Thursday.
Oh, then it might be with me then. I'm doing Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, you're
I think you're going to be on with me on Thursday, so that's fantastic. So we'll get a chance to talk on Thursdays. I'll be stepping in on the aftermarket show. So appreciate it very much. Good luck the rest of the week trading, and thank you again for popping in and dropping some knowledge for us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Bye, Danielle.
Bye, Danielle. See, there it is. I want to put one last thing out about Tesla on this daily chart. I didn't zoom it all the way out for why Tesla. There's another potential bull case, at least in my estimation. And I like trend lines. If you look at technicals, you like technical, believe in I'm a trader, so I look at technicals. Since this little top and bottom, you've had 3 highs holding the trend line, and you've had 3 lows holding this trend line. Pretty clean. And each time it's bounced off the bottom, it's gotten all the way to the top of the trend line, bounced off the bottom, get all the way to the top of the trend line. This wick here didn't really test it. That's just a bad wick. So it kind of violated the rule if you think that it bounced off. But this move is now holding a higher low. I still think you have a chance to break this out on earnings and then get into the top of that trend line. It would be perfect if it holds. It's not going to hold this level for a month, but imagine it did. That would just be the ultimate coil up. Tesla, you can go back as long as you want. I don't think I've seen this kind of a tight consolidation on Tesla. I mean, I think ever. I'm pretty sure I've never seen anything like this at this 173 on Tesla. And if I have, then I just don't remember it. It's a little bit wild. I don't think it can last very long. Okay, so Apple's right back into the bottom. So Apple got to that 194. I said I was getting out if it got the same top. And now it's right back at the low. Just dipped off 192.50 or 60. I was sitting underneath 50 there. I'm going to try and grab something back in the 60s if it can. And Palantir, I have a trailing stop for PLTR. That did get to the high of the day, but much like this morning, it's gotten to the high of the day and stopped on a dime. So 23.15 for whatever reason is resistance on Palantir. If it can't hold on to the 10s, I'm jumping out. It's 330. I mean, it's almost 330, so we're getting to that last run of the day. So simple VWAP into the high of the day on PLTR. And as I said a couple times before, yes, I will, Robinhood had a good day. Lots of strong stocks, but you've got to have something because of a catalyst. So I'll never be upset because, this stock X did better than stock Y. But if I had no reason to ever be looking at stock X, then I can't regret not making the trade. I had no reason to look at Robinhood today, but ultimately it was a good one. Palantir has worked out, and man, CrowdStrike, I mean, that's just been a huge flyer. Can't seem to get any kind of a pullback on CrowdStrike, and I believe it's next Friday is the addition to the S&P 500. So next Friday, whether or not there's a gigantic imbalance and we can trade off of it, you never really know. It's not some guarantee that we're just going to be punching long at 350 on the stock, but maybe we might. When Uber was there, we had to look at that. I don't think there was much of a trade. You could have scalped it for a little bit on Uber, but CrowdStrike's going to be a big one. We look at those big dollar and massive additions, and CrowdStrike will be one of them.
Yeah, so far so good on all of that. We were waiting at Apple 192.65. It went to 67. So we did not get long, but a nice little move back on Apple, back to the upside there. We're still in the same spot. Like I said, we were bidding 192.65. It went to 66 or 67. Should have just not bid it and then punched in. All right, we're still short Uber. GameStop's making a run, but we've already gotten out there of GameStop. So there's GameStop at the bottom. And you guys, look, we're trading them all, man. We're trading Apple, we're trading Uber, we're trading GameStop. Nvidia's in the building as well. And there it was right there, $23.50, the best fill that we have for GameStop. And then there it is again, $24, our last piece. And we just have a small piece, 10% left of GameStop. If it breaks higher on that one. Uber, let's go. See if we can bring this into a little bit of a downside push here for Uber. We did short more of it when it went up to 69. Our stop was going to be 69.06, like a breakthrough. We always give it a little bit more room than maybe we should, but it helped us out this time as it does break above 69, and we got a 03 or 04 as I punched it back down to the downside, but it's not really giving us any juice. We're only in the money 5 cents now on Uber, so that's not really so exciting at all. But hopefully, if we do get a retracement in the market, we can get a downside push. We've been pretty flat here in the afternoon. We do have a big trade on Nvidia at 120.50 all the way up to 122.50. That was a $2 winner. It's only $1.70 right now. We'll see if we can get going again. I think that GameStop can move in the after hours, so we'll wait to see if that can go. I actually hope the market tanks, to be honest with you, because of what we have for Uber. So we have the biggest position here, notionally wise here, right now is on the Uber short.
I think if the market tanks, it's because Apple loses the bid. Like Apple's trying to bounce off lows again. So I think that's what could take us to the downside. I did mention if GameStop got to 25 that I'd look for a short in AMC. It's getting a little bit late in the day, and I'm just going to quickly note that AMC actually broke VWAP before GME got there. So I don't want to put that trade on. The idea would have been when you get to 25 on GameStop, I'm shorting AMC at VWAP. If it's already at VWAP, that means it's somehow stronger than GameStop. So I'm not shorting the one that's stronger of the two. It doesn't make any sense. So it worked this morning, but it doesn't mean you have to do it in the afternoon. I've trailed out of Palantir. So once again, Palantir proves to be resilient. I think this is a great looking trend on the daily for Palantir. Triple bottom at essentially $20. Hold the 50 period at 22. It pulled back at 24, so every $2, it finds a bit of resistance. Well, dip off that today. So dip off the $22 level, resistance turns into support. I think that's always fantastic. If it can hold 23, a push into 24 makes sense as I get rid of this weird trend line that is there for no reason and then hit save. So Palantir doesn't go green today, so I was a little bit wrong in that prediction. I kind of felt if it trended up that it could trend back to flat on the session, but it just falls about 20 cents shy of that on PLTR. Although the day's not over, it's still got 25 minutes to go 20 cents. Could happen, but it's been resisting these teens the entire day. So I'm now out of Palantir. We'll look for some continuation tomorrow. It's been a good name today.
Yeah, good. We really like that Palantir play. Good play on that one. We got more Apple down here. We talked about where we were bidding, so that's what we were bidding. So now we're long right here at 192.60. So we talked about it missing us. And again, no cap. It came right back in and filled us up right there. So that was the position that we're waiting for. So now we have a little bit of a bigger one now coming through on that. We did take a dime on Uber. I don't know. Hopefully it comes back down in a little bit more than that, and we'll be able to capture some profit on that. We'll have Michael Noss again tonight, so we'll talk about some of his plays that he's looking forward to.
Crocs.
As well. We'll talk about Crocs with him. Yeah, that's a good call. We'll do that right now as well. But here comes Apple. Just our stop, I actually don't even have one. So breaking through 192, I think would be it for Apple there tonight. But we are Sam Bankman-Frieding right now on this one. So let's go props up on that, because there goes Uber. Nice downside move. Now 20 cents. Let's go and see how low we can get on that one. And we are also trying to figure out what's going on with Apple. We will buy some more down here. I'm bidding 30s. In case we don't get there, let's bid a little bit more right here. Try to get 192.30, then a break lower through 192, and that will be it. We can put in our stop right now, 191.97 right there, live and in full color, are out for Apple. So coming back in, here comes Apple into the end of the day. It's 334. So those imbalances will hit, and we will figure it all out from then. Yeah, the one thing I also want to talk to Michael Noss about was he called Bitcoin up at 71,000 the best looking long chart. So I'm going to talk to him if he still likes it down here at 69.7. That's Michael Noss coming through on the Market Recap Show.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's been a couple times Bitcoin has really looked like it was about to break. I think like 71.8 or 72 is that top, and then it just falls shy. And again, we've had another day where it resists. Early look imbalances are out of note, and this is kind of weird. CCL 1.2 million to sell early look, NCLH 1.2 million to buy. For whatever that's worth. It seems a little bit strange. One's one way, one's the other. Pfizer 1.2 to the sell side. You've got CM, SU, no big names. UiPath 900,000 to the sell. These are all early. So at about, in 15 minutes or so at 350, we'll get some real updates, and we'll get all the NASDAQ names when they do come out. I am fully expecting Apple to be in imbalance. The last 2 weeks, Apple doesn't always show up as a big imbalance at 350, and then by 351 a number appears. But this 192.25 is where it has to hold. So I got another reload in here. But if we lose that higher low, I'm out. This could be the last dip buy that we have. I'm all out of Palantir. I thought maybe we would get that push. It might be done here on AMD. I thought we'd get a push to be able to short AMD right back into the low of the day. Might have to call it kaputs. If AMD pops this late, again, do you really want to be shorting VWAP into 350? Typically, when it does that move that late, it's about to run you over. So we'll give up on AMD, at least for the rest of this day. And we haven't even talked about Meta's strength today. Meta, bouncing off 500 and right back to the moon. This is, I think it's the strong, today at least, Meta has been the strong one out of these MAGs, whatever you want to call them. Big cap tech names, MAG 7, goes into Friday's high, and then dips right back and bounces off of it nicely, right back into these highs. It's got the 50 period back on a track, and this feels like the one that's probably primed to test. Look, Apple's already tested its high today, so I think it's a bit of a cheat to say it's close enough to test it again, but I would say Meta's the one that seems like it wants to test its 52-week high next out of the big cap tech names. I'd say Meta gets to its high the next.
Oh man, we were bidding a lot of shares down there at Nvidia at 117. We didn't quite get filled, which kind of sucks. I just canceled the order. I was like, wow, I was bidding that many? All right. Well, that would have been real fun to have gotten those. But we're just going to start to piece out some Apple now as we come back in. So Apple right there right now. Let's watch out for that one. Here comes Uber right now. So again, we'll put Uber into the gates of hell and see how low we can go on Uber now. Hopefully it falls in. Good little shorting up to the top there. Boom, short, fall in for Uber. Let's see if it can go. I don't know. GameStop with a nice pushback in again for GME. So we'll watch at the 50 period moving average for that name. That is, of course, GameStop, looking to see if that will fade in. Nvidia, I just put a stop on Nvidia. It's going to be right here, 121.80. If we stop through there, 121.70, break downside out of Nvidia. Yeah, we'll give up like 50 cents from its high, but again, I think it's always worth trying, especially on a stock like Nvidia, to see if we can get like a really, really big move. And we've already gotten it. We already took equivalent of a $40 winner from Friday. Today we take $3 this way, and then we had $3 that way before eventually averaging it in, which turned out to be a great call. So that was a good one there for Nvidia. And then heading into the close, really, it's just let's go for Uber. I mean, if Uber can fall back in, we talked about how many, sort of it was the biggest position right here, and it is. So we'll wait to see what happens with Uber right now, the biggest position on the floor.
Yeah, I'm going to be out of Apple if it gets to the 193 and a quarter. I think you're starting to run out of steam. It bounced off our level. We basically liked one level on Apple this afternoon and was 192 and a quarter. So it bounced the first time we let it bounce, put in the higher low. This will be the second time that we grab it, but you're getting more and more shallow moves with not a lot of time left in the day. With only 10 minutes till the imbalances come out. Look, it's down 2%. It was a sell the news event overall, the WWDC, so you have been trend down. And if you're wondering, like, why the heck do you have a line drawn on 192.25, which happens to be the low? Pull up a 15-minute chart. When in doubt, zoom out. Go right to the end of the month. Last day of the month, this is where it closed. First day of the month, that's where it dipped to. It's not, and again, this is where you find key price levels. I like close prices, and if a close price has significance multiple days after that, then it's going in as a support and resistance level. On news, when it tanks to the downside, that's where it bounces. So you get events like the WWDC or maybe the live stream with Roaring Kitty or just anything big. Earnings is a case for this as well, and that's where those big levels and lines in the chart are ready for you. So when we talk about these big levels, you got to be ready to trade them. And it all starts with zooming out. When in doubt, zoom out. That's why you have different time frames out there. Meta getting ready to moon, apparently. I hope so, man. I hope so. I wanted to get back into that high. I'm not mad over the fact that I missed a dip buy on my personal account. I still own a bunch of shares in it, not as many as like Google or Microsoft or Nvidia, but I'm happy it's going higher. I missed that dip buy, like I said. Some names, where I was looking to stink bid after earnings, it made a push to the downside, and your only chance was to buy it the next day. And I was so anchored to the $400 level where it broke out from that I was like, oh yeah, it's going to give me a fill down there. It's going to trend a couple times down, and then it just proceeded to bounce off 430. So when we talk about, if you like a company and your time horizon is forever, then sometimes you don't want to be too picky about where you dip buy it. Dollar cost averaging is reasonable, or simply buying the dip that the stock gives you. I think that's the one that's going to stick to me, and I've been saying that a lot. And ARM is the best example of that. Because, just a personal example here, and why I slapped the fail on myself for ARM, and I want to show you guys this chart, is I had sold half my ARM position at 120 or something like that, whatever it was, and was looking to dip buy it back in. And I looked at the $80 level. This is $80, and I'm like, if it breaks 120, it's going to get down to 80. And I remember stink bidding in front of $80 and thinking, I'm about to be the smartest person ever. It bounced off 85, and asked yourself whether I got back in that half of the position. I didn't. So it's completely irrelevant that I sold at 120 because I never bought again. So all I did is now I've just given up that move. If I just hold the other shares, the whole thing would be in the money an extra 10 to 15%. So that was a disappointment for myself, and I learned a lesson there. Because 85 or 87 versus 82 in the long run makes no difference, Neil. And we try to make sure that we learn from our mistakes, and I want you guys to learn from mine.
Ooh-wee.
So Apple, like I said, if it breaks to 193 and a quarter, I'm getting out. We got 7 minutes to the imbalances. I'll be flat at that point and canceling any orders I have on other stocks, which I'm just doing now on AMD and Nvidia.
Oh man, we come back. We were just setting up for the recap show, and it was a good one right there. A little slapper coming in. Nice move down for Uber. We got a good one now for Apple. We just got some more out at 193. I mean, these dip buys were good, and we have them on board. So far, so good with that one on those dip buys there. And yeah, we don't have too many earnings. I was just talking with Ramin about this after hours right now for the recap show, and again, right now we don't have. Today's the 10th, so we're looking for after-market close. Yext?
Huh?
Never heard of that one. We have fuel cell.
I thought you said aftermarket show, and you were saying Yext to like next.
Yeah, I know, no, yeah, like that's what I mean.
I thought it was like slang or something.
Yeah, I never heard of this company. YEXT right there. So nothing going on there. Skill, Zedge, I have no idea.
Hey, Urban, you won.
Yeah, you won. That'll be a Juneteenth play.
Straight up. Every Juneteenth,
yeah.
Urban won actually.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. There's Carver, there's a whole bunch of them there. So those will be the next meme ones to move, mark my words.
Oh, good.
And then here we go. So yeah, not much to go, but join me and Michael Noss. We'll talk about Crocs. As I said, we'll ask him about his Bitcoin call, what he thinks about that. There goes Nvidia, it comes out, but Nvidia is the #1 P&L name today. So we'll spin that as it goes through there. Today, the #1 name here will be Nvidia, easily. And, you know, I mean, we really got it good there. We got the short, then we got the long, then we just got the long again. And I hate getting dropped out at the end there because we did have, and again, it was 20%. So we did give some money back for sure by not getting out at the very top. But, you know, if you're going to hold for those and higher, sometimes you do sacrifice getting that fill down there. So it's all good. We'll watch out for that. Uber, of course, is not really moving. GameStop, we'll see if there is a fill here into the close for GME. But for right now, kind of holding out on that. Not much to go. We did have a story about PayPal. I'm still watching Apple. I mean, I still think we can have a chance to go, but those imbalances will be something.
It was more an Apple story, not a PayPal story.
Yeah, that's the thing. You could now, instead of paying, you know, sending somebody, what is it, Cash App or whatever PayPal has, you can just tap your phone. So if we both have Apple Pay, it's bang, and you can transfer funds like that. I think that's huge. So I really like that. I think Apple has basically a huge runway now with services, what iOS is going to do. And they already announced that they're actually going to be offering more and more ideas for AI as we go. So the other thing about...
They just didn't call them AI.
No, I think they did at the end.
Well, at the end
they're
did,
just saying that they're going to be releasing more and more things. And then as they release iPhone 16, you'll find out more and more case uses for it. And then plus the other cool thing about the call was the talk about the Vision Pro. And I mean, now they have so many app developers there building. I think they said over 1,000 apps or something like that. Don't quote me. We can find the details in a minute. But tons of apps being built right now on the platform for Vision Pro as well. So once you get into that environment, just a matter of time. I mean, they showed exactly the stuff that I'm talking about, sitting there watching NBA games, watching Major League Baseball games. Like, you could just go and sit behind home plate of the Yankee game tonight. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. Or the Celtics, whatever, hockey, anything like that, concerts.
Celtics.
It's just so much right there. I know you called Dallas.
What's annoying is, like, I was like, all year I was like, Boston is the best team in the East, and it's not particularly a big deal, but I'm just ridiculously impressed with how well coached and fundamentally sound, Dallas has been. I'm a sucker for when the game plan is ridiculously good in basketball, and I feel like Dallas had this great game plan, the same one that let them beat LeBron years ago. I feel like they had that same thing going for them, and they could not easily, but I thought they would take down Boston. It's not seemingly likely. You got to take one of those first two. So I'll be wrong about that one, but I still say that was a fantastic coaching job, best in the playoffs for them, and Luka doing a great job. Kyrie's not holding up his end of the bargain. We got 3 minutes to go until the imbalances. The market will be 15 minutes to go or a little bit less than that. I just got out of Apple when it dipped 193. So I'm going to like this level tomorrow as well, 192.25. It was the sell the news event, 194.25. Like, post-event levels, I think, matter. And every $2, so 196.25. Remember I had a 96 breakout thinking that I was adding if it broke out this high. And really close to doing so. If it had been continuation up, I think it was an add through that high. We didn't. We stopped out break even, waited for the bottom. Now it's a double bottom, maybe even a triple bottom on Apple, running into some pressure. Meta is still looking like going into this 350. Yeah, it's about to touch the high of the day here. So Meta, it's kind of the one today, and it's always a sleepy. I find when Meta does this, it's when nobody's looking at it, and because everyone's looking at it, Apple and Nvidia today. GameStop, I don't think this story is over. Like, as you rightfully mentioned, Sean, it would be pretty interesting if by the end of the next week, we're actually within spitting distance, like of that strike at 20 for Roaring Kitty. Bouncing now, again, I said I'm not shorting it, or shorting AMC into this 25, but it looks like it's going to get to 25 here going into the end of the day. The late day rally on GameStop, undefeated. It's not a big one, but at least there's some buyers back in this thing after it dying all day long.
Yeah, I mean, we got out of half of what we had left there at 24. Now you're up to 25. So we'll wait to see if we can hold out hope for that one. And by the way, I mean, there's Uber. I mean, you guys want winning trades? I mean, what are we even talking about? Uber short 90s, short 69er, down to 68.60 right now. So yeah, man, we're singing with Uber right now, and we're singing loud because this is a good one. We loaded up the shares. It's a really nice downside move here for Uber. What brought my attention to this name, of course, was the class action lawsuit. Remember, they lost, not class action, sorry, it was for the gig economy there. So now we're going to have to see if Uber has to pay their employees a little more than potentially they thought. So there it is for Uber. It's a nice downside move. Now 1% down, and that's an optionable trade. I mean, going short at 69, playing 0-day options, that's a good move there for Uber. So nice push right now into the close. We'll wait to see what happens here with any possible imbalances. Apple, again, yeah, good outs there at 193 with the imbalances now minutes away. This name probably comes with a sell imbalance, which is completely fine. I'm not doing anything else. We'll take something down near 192, but then get out if we break down underneath 192.50. So, or sorry, 192 flat. So here comes Apple right now on that imbalance. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, so remember, Apple, the last week or two, when the imbalances drop at 350, we don't always see it pop in, even when it's over $1 million. Sometimes that doesn't come till about 351. So I'm going to keep eyes on it. NCLH is still a sell, although I don't see CCL. CCL was a sell, NCLH was a buy. Now I just see the early look buy for NCLH. So we'll let you guys know in about 10 seconds. I have no orders, no positions, so I'll be good to go just to see what happens here, specifically on Apple. That's the stock that I have up because they had the event today.
Right.
We usually see an imbalance. So Intel, who cares? 1.5 million to the sell side. Monster, 1.2 million buy on Monster. Interesting there. NCLH we knew about. Palantir, nothing. Apple, there we go. Apple, 1 million to the sell side. 970,000 to the sell side for Apple. As I said, Palantir, 900,000. That's not that big for Palantir, but it's a decent size. Don't see any other big NASDAQ names. Nvidia, there it is. 500,000 for Nvidia to the buy side. And then Alphabet, 500,000 to the sell side. So that imbalance on Apple of 1 million to the sell didn't really do much. It was already at that low, and it bounced off 192.25 again. So it keeps bouncing off this level. It's 350. I'm not taking that trade another time, but it looks like there's a bit of a bid here on Apple. Just checking out Palantir after it had a sell and bounce, didn't move. So Palantir holds the high despite a 700,000 or 800,000 sell and balance. Palantir is going to hang on to the high there.
Okay, good call right there. All right, GameStop does break. So there goes GameStop up through 25. So hey, all you apes, get ready to go. It's GameStop time again right now, but we actually did really well on that. But yeah, nice to see it starting to break higher, as Neil mentioned, there into the afternoon. I mean, GameStop continues to sort of pay off those of us that wait for afternoon moves on GameStop. So right back to where we got in, and we only are holding 10%. So very profitable move right there, short on GameStop. But it's not like we didn't try, everybody out there. We did try, so shout out to Roaring Kitty Nation, as we did buy 26s, tried to get some out. We got some out there, 27, 27.50. Tried to buy again before eventually losing 26, and then downside for GameStop. So we were long GameStop early, short GameStop late, and overall pretty decently done right there as we go as well. Wow, Uber just, again, in what is going to be my biggest trade of the afternoon, Uber just fell completely in, and there it goes. So nice short there for Uber. We're long whatever the difference of shares is right there. So we'll get out of that one. There's Uber, man. Really good trade to end the day. So I hope you were able to follow a little bit. We had Nvidia on those dip buys there at the end of the day. We can get rid of this. We had Nvidia on the dip buys. We had Uber on the short. We had Apple as well on these dip buys there. Apple's kind of not doing anything here into the close. We'll try to hold out, hope that there will be something that's happening, but for right now, it doesn't look like much on Uber. On Apple into the close. So we'll wait out for that. But right now, kind of muted spot.
I want to.
I thought there'd be more at the imbalances.
I want to caution people. So Monster is 1.2 million to buy. I'm just looking up a note we have. It's an expected share decrease, MSCI, North America. So it's expected to be a small decrease. So I mean, I just want everyone to know that. So if it pairs off in 2 minutes, which I would expect it does, if you're just thinking big buy imbalance, buy it. Well, there is a note that it's supposed to be a share decrease on the S&P. That level on Apple, it continues to hold. It's a bit late in the day to go scalp trading off of it, but 192.25, it's a big one, and it's going to hold on to it. At least for now, it looks like it's going to hold on to it. All bets are off. In the aftermarket, all bets are off tomorrow morning when we get that post-hype. And the post-hype, ultimately, it's a bearish setup after failing a fresh high on news. That said, it could just provide us with some opportunities to buy. You just have to be patient. Be patient with Apple. I know it's falling back a little bit here, but it's been a strong run, and it rallied to fresh tops. What more can you ask for? On the event, it ran into those highs. We thought it might tag 200. 197 or 198 is about as close as you're going to get, I think. But that's still pretty good.
We're getting some questions on the chat about what is exactly this imbalance locator. Well, yeah, we are trading here with Real Trading, so make sure you go check these guys out. RealTrading.com, Real Trading, Winners Trading, starting all with us. So hit this join today. You'll get lots of questions. I mean, look at these numbers here. 400 million shares traded per day, $3 billion worth of trades, 50 plus markets. And we, you know, the 50 plus markets thing, don't take that for granted because we show you all the time different markets with different opportunities. Right now, you could join Neil right here. So you could trade with Neil. There, if you join up as well, you could trade with some of these guys here as well. Why is Neil always looking so mean? Like, Neil, you all right in this picture or what? Right there.
And the arms folded. Even the guy in the picture has his arms folded.
And if you haven't heard enough of Brendan's voice, you can go find out more about Real Trading and click on this as well. But hey, it is what we are using. Start your opportunity today, just $500. And it's really, I mean, the system, you see us trading live every single day. These are live quotes into the close. Lots of different imbalance opportunities. Here we go right now with an opportunity again for us right now. Apple's trying to get, so that's what I was saying.
Apple paired off that sell imbalance.
Yeah, so we'll take some out now at 65. See if Apple can continue to fly higher right now into the close. Apple taking a little profit off here, but we have to be flat. So that's another thing about bringing on a prop floor. So at 4 p.m., as soon as that little ding, ding, ding happens, and we'll ring that bell today, we have to be flat pending market on close trades.
Exactly.
So if you have a market on close trade, you can get that print. But other than that, you got to be flat. So.
And remember I said the other thing when I was mentioning that we had that note about Monster expecting a sell, well, that was in, we have an information portal that all the traders have access to in the morning where you get reports like that. So the reason I was confident that Monster would pair off that buy was because of that report. Monster flipped to a sell at 355. So you just always have to be careful. This is Monster was moving up on the imbalance. At 355 it flipped, but remember the note that we got, and everyone at Real Trading has access to these fantastic reports. We knew it would probably flip to a sell. It did. That's why we stayed away from it despite that big imbalance. Love what Apple's doing, but I want to have at the end of the day, I got a morbid curiosity as to what's going to happen with GameStop. There's something about it that is more exciting if Roaring Kitty gets put to the test next week, if it gets to $20. I never cheer for a stock to go down, but I don't think we've ever seen a situation quite like this before. I mean, he's long at the price, he's got shares, he's got another 12 million locked up in options at that strike, and it is trending down into that level. The other thing that's of importance is it'll be short sell restricted tomorrow because it's down another 10% today. So when we talk about SSR and short sell restricted bounces, understand that this is going to be under that condition again tomorrow. That was part of the reason I was looking for longs today on GameStop, because it was SSR. Some of the bounces early were okay. I think late they weren't as good. But it just means it's a little bit more difficult for short sellers to keep hammering the bid as the stock is moving to the downside. So when it catches a bid, there's a little bit less pressure and it's able to go up a little bit faster. It doesn't mean it's going to go up, but when it does catch a bid, when it's SSR, it can be a heck of a lot more fun. What do we got here? Jazz Preet, no, that is not a younger version of me on the website. Whoever they have in that picture is much more handsome than I am. Certainly, and his glasses are cooler. Like my blue light glasses, I got off Amazon for like $20. Like you get the gunners that Sean has. That guy probably has gunners or something. Me, I'm too practical. As far as I'm concerned, they're exactly the same, and they protect my eyes. I wore them in the midday, but that is not any relative of mine. There was an imbalance on Intel. There was just a question, but it paired off. The Intel imbalance, it was there, but at 355, there's generally a massive pairing event on both the New York and the NASDAQ exchange. So all those imbalances that are over 1 million, you don't really see them anymore because the reason for imbalance is so that they do get paired off. And that's basically what happened. Intel pairs off every single time. I cannot think of a single situation outside of maybe like an index rebalance or something where Intel has managed to hold on to a big imbalance. And look at that level again on Apple. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. 192 quarter. Even at the end of the day, it bounces off of this level. When you got a good level in a liquidity vacuum, which is exactly what an event is, you're going to go from liquidity level to liquidity level. And I had this support line drawn before the event happened, and you just go out to a 15-minute chart as for why. For anyone tuning in late, it was this close. End of last month, there was resistance. Beginning of this month, there was support. Today, it bounces off at 4 times in the afternoon. I got half of the debacle this morning that Apple was for me. I was able to get half of it back just by trading in the afternoon, and it was all off the long at the bottom. You know, even that long off the top was no good. It was all the long off the bottom for Apple. And your Huckleberry, like I said, GameStop is SSR. It doesn't matter where it closes. For short sell restriction, before we get to the ring and the bell here in about 30 seconds, the short sell restriction's not whether it closes 10% down. It's if it trades 10% down from the previous close at any point during that day. So it doesn't matter where this closes. It's short sell restricted tomorrow because it tags 10%. All it has to do is wick by like even 1 cent, 10% down, and then it's SSR the next day. We got 10 seconds left. We're going to drop the countdown. I see Ramin run. You don't have to run. Don't follow. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. What is it early? I mean, it's all good. She's calling me out because it wasn't exactly at 4 o'clock, but it's 4 o'clock now. The market is closed. GameStop tagging 25 right at the close. The NASDAQ holding green up 0.33%. We got the ES about 0.3%. Odyssey flights, will Apple get to 200 this week? I'm a little skeptical, but it's still holding this 193. So not the best day for Apple on the WWDC event. They announced some pretty cool stuff. I'm going to get the debrief from my buddy who happens to like absolutely everything about it, but then the stock went down anyway. So it is what it is. It's been a fun afternoon. Big shout out to Ramin, who's on the 1s and 2s. By her lonesome all day. I mean, Fabian wasn't here, so Ramin was handling it all by herself. We had Obi in for Adara on the midday with Sharif, knocking it out of the park, giving you commentary during the WWDC event, and, of course, live trading and doing their lesson of the day. Can't say enough about that. Big thank you to Danielle Shea for popping on through this afternoon and dropping some signs. But you know what time it is. It's 4 o'clock. We got the aftermarket show. You got a lot to review. The moves in Nvidia post-split. You've got the Apple move. Don't sleep on the fact that Bitcoin rejected that 70,000 level. Sean will be asking Michael Noss about that. I'm interested in what his take is on that and Crocs. So without further ado, for the entire team, let's get right on to the aftermarket show at the desk with Sean.
Yeah, let's do this. This is your market recap show. Thank you so much, Neil, for throwing it over right now. We do have some earnings coming through for you, and when we get those, we may or may not discuss them because they're not that significant. Something called Yext. I don't know. I say next to that one. You know what? Here we go. What's up, Roaring Kitty? This is what he says. You were a billionaire. Come over here. This is his last tweet that he's had out there. Not anymore. Remember, there was that talk about if the stock got to a certain price, $36 or something like that, based on whatever those calls and the shares that he had right there. So shout out. Let's see if he's tweeted anything since right now. No, you were a billionaire. So this little carrying of the cat mask not helping out again today, as I don't know what to think. Here's GME. I was actually, bless you, as we were waiting to see what GameStop would do today. I mean, it's pretty much a straight downside move there for GME, opening the day in and around $30. Nice move back in. We tried to defend some of these levels of 26, and we did. Nice move back to 28 before eventually giving it up. Downside pressure for GameStop, but look what happens at the end of the day. Oh, Mr. Noss, we have a smiley face here on the 3-minute, and there goes GME. Okay. Okay, you were a billionaire. Maybe you will be again one day. The cat man, but nice move, the upside right there. 25 and change. I want to say thank you to absolutely everybody who is joining the market recap show for us today, as we will have Michael Noss, and we'll talk to him about his great call on Crocs that he made earlier today. We'll find out that case one more time if you weren't with us, and we will do roll call near the end of the day. Apple AI event, boom. Good one on that one, Ramin, as Apple came through today with quite a nice little day, but let's just quickly go over some of the markets today. Oil, guess who's back? Back again. Not Eminem, that Houdini song. It's all right, it's not great, but there's USO, nice move up 3 and a bit today. Check out the daily chart on oil. We actually talked about this with Randy. We've been going over some of the different pricing for the summertime mixture for gasoline and oil, starting to get back up to the upside as that came in cheaper than expected. Randy was talking about June 3rd as a date to get stepped in here and buy some oil, and you can see that's been a nice move. Follow that up with XOM hovering near the bottom. Could be an opportunity to pick up some of the majors now. XOM and CVX. Occidental off some. Occidental has been getting kicked actually right now. I would stay away from Oxy and rather get into XOM as we're still above the 200 period. Talked about John Deere with, I should have brought this up with Danielle Shea today at 3 o'clock, but I did not. John Deere, a decent buy there. She's also mentioned Caterpillar, as I'm trying to get into some of these names. XLI on the industrial side of things as well. If you'd rather just say, let's play the ETF rather than individual names. But I think we could timestamp this right now. June 10th, what day is that? What the day is today? June the 10th. Hey, look, I think you can go in there and start to buy some of these industrials. Maybe a little bit overdone on some worries, especially with Caterpillar on a potential recession or economic downgrades globally hitting some of these names. So Caterpillar, as we potentially get a global shift now in central banks, starting here in Canada, we lowered rates last week by 0.25%. So, okay, you know what's back? Gold. Maybe. I mean, a couple bad candles there. I do want to ask Michael about some of the precious metals. Not sure why I just yelled that, but I think metals downside right now. Let's go see if you like gold. Look at where this looks. GLD trying to hold on at 211. End phase today. My response to you is no, I have not, but let's check it out right now. End phase up 7%. Was there specific news on end phase today? Okay, securities upgrade there by HSBC. Some wealth department company there reduces its holdings, so it's not that. Probably some news in there, and again, increased one way, reduced at another. We'll find out more about this, but as you know, the rate situation maybe seems to be a bit more clear with a rate cut. I would say at least one happening this year. End phase and TAN, probably nice upside there as well. So we could see some benefits. Look, man, today was a great day. SMH upside. We did get, let me see if trade ideas, yes. So there's trade ideas again, flipped over. So 10-to-1 stock split happens on Nvidia. And what a good day it was for Nvidia. Actually, if you're gonna look at this on a 1-minute chart, we start the day pretty red on Nvidia, and we were actually lucky enough, hey, you know what? You wanna talk about some trades? Here's Nvidia right here. This is how I traded Nvidia today. Mug off. Magic, how magic that is. Wouldn't that be nice if that could just happen, just erase my face at all times? Actually can happen. Let's not pretend that it can't. But there's the short. So we shorted it one time at 120 as we thought, hey, maybe 120 was a level that we wanted. In that exact same minute, we also got 121. And then as it came back in, sure, we started to get some out, but then the collapse happened on Nvidia, and there's some outs at 118. Those were good trades. But then, hey, remember that sticky note thing that we talk about every once in a while? We actually didn't mention it that much today. We should have, because we were dead on some of these plays. There's Nvidia right here, 118 long. We talked about trying to buy some dips on Nvidia. We just used 118 because you times that by 10, that's 1180. We had known that 1180 were some key prices for us a couple weeks ago, or I guess just last week, came into play. So in case we drop post-split. So that's exactly what happened. And again, to be able to predict 118 on the nose, hard to do that. We hold the short, punch out of the short and execute the long all the way to the upside, where we were able to get $5 move back up, but we did not take that. We played the dip back in, bought that dip, and able to take some more on Nvidia. So what was P&L number one today for me and for the floor, or the floor I think was actually CrowdStrike, because we had a big trade early on that. But Nvidia, as far as multiple trades, the number one name there. NASDAQ holds out well. We will get into Apple in 1 second. Before we call on, I see Mr. Michael Noss coming through with a Mr. in front of it. That's right. Put some respect on his name. The Q's there, 0.4 up. And the one name about, I want to talk to Michael about Crocs. He nailed that one today, up 5% right there for Crocs. Again, pre-market earnings release coming July 25th. So well away on Crocs. So what was down today? Okay, let's have a quick look. Burke B was down. Again, probably accidental. We saw downside. We saw some downside pushes. We didn't even look at banks today at all. Banking names down 0.17. We know Wells Fargo is a name. So there it is, down 0.7. Wells Fargo hitting Burke B. Bank of America hitting Burke B today as well, downside moves. I mean, those of you that are interested in wheat, let me check what it looks like on the daily. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's up with that? Wheat making a nice move to the downside there. What does wheat look like on the weekly? I actually feel, I have like a strange feeling that we've talked to Michael about the wheat before, as he'll look at anything that's moving. Wheat right now down to $5, possible buying spot there. Again, obviously when you're talking about grains and things like that, weather, big factors, maybe potentially some hurricanes. I don't know anything about this wheat story, but again, down 2% and just not looking good on the daily, continuing its downside move. So sometimes you want to play momentum on that one. Wheat coming to the downside. There's XLF. So again, not much happening in the finance world. I guess in the rate environment, we'd like to see potentially some more stability for the banks, but I'm pretty sure that we are going to get that rate cut coming through. Let's just quickly look again and refresh the CME Fed rate tool and take a drink. All right, let's go have a quick look at this. So if you're going to look at June, right now we are at 5.25, 5.5. So we get a 99.4% move right there. I'll talk to Jerome about what this other 0.6 is about, but again, he doesn't set this, right? This is the CME Fed rate tool on the street. So that's what's happening right there for June. I don't need anything for setting something up for me. Oh, the audience needs it, okay. Ramin doing lots of work here. 91% coming in July. So again, it doesn't look like we're getting a rate cut in July. So when does the street think? Guess what? I think it's going to be September. And that's where we get 50-50. So push and pull. We'll see if Michael's heard anything on this one. And I guess it doesn't really matter when the rate cut happens. Doesn't matter if it happens in September or doesn't matter if it happens in November. Now remember, this is November 7th. What day is election day? I could Google it. I could perplex it. Is that what they're saying? Chat GPT it? OpenAI it? What's another one? Gemini it? Because you used to say I could Google something. Now what do you say? I'm just going to AI it? The 5th? Okay, so thanks, Chef Joe. So right there, the 5th. Always can rely on you guys. Thanks, Chef Joe, for that one. Right there. So it would be November 7th. For the Fed. So it's looking like 100. I mean, if you just add it up, it looks like there's going to be a rate cut happening here because there you go, 46% cutting for a quarter point. By the time we get to, it doesn't mean this event, it's just by the time we get here, it looks like 50% of the people think that we're going to get to half a point lower than where we are right now would be right into here. 16%, quarter of a point, 50% chance, quarter of a point lower. And then into the end of the year, looks pretty mixed. Half of the market, roughly 40%, think we only get a quarter into year end, and then 35% of the respondents out there, 35% think we're going to get half a point. So again, that's a long ways away. I mean, if you just take in consideration, let's go over here and use this and go to QQQ and just to see what exactly, thank you, Ramin, what the NASDAQ has been doing here on a daily so far. changed since January 1st. And again, a big shout out to Trade Ideas because they put it all right here for you. Changed since January 1st, 13% on the NASDAQ. So as we sit here halfway through the year, I mean, a lot can change from now until those rate hikes that rate cuts that we were just talking about happening in September, November, possibly December. So let's wait to see where the market is. And we didn't cover too much about Apple, but let's just have a quick look to see what happened today for Apple. So let's look at the daily just real quick. And again, Michael's come up onto this program before, and he's shown like that Forbes cover or the Wall Street Journal cover. Whenever they're showing someone that's overly bullish or they have like an actual bull on the cover, that may be the end of the run. We've seen Nvidia and Jensen sign something on a chest there. So that could be the end of the AI run. People are thinking, I don't think that's true. But is it maybe strange that today Apple basically, again, Michael, and I'm going to talk to Michael about this immediately. So Michael, get ready for some quick Apple talk off the gate here. Apple today, look at this, one top, two tops. Are we getting into a third top here on the daily? Michael's going to say, Sean, maybe let's look at the weekly. So let's do that ahead of Michael. And it looks the same thing to me. Are we getting toppy here that we hit the top again, basically on a major event day? I say. Maybe something about that with Apple. Quickly though, let's go to a 3-minute chart just to figure out what exactly happened. They sell Apple off. It comes all the way back. Then there's a threat of possibly no AI talk, which is what I was waiting for. Nice move down on Apple on that threat. Then all of a sudden, Tim Cook is just like, well, now let's get to AI. And then it boomed right there in and about 145. Nice move back to the top side. And then which they just talked about, my wife and I, we're talking, I'm somewhere in there, we're talking about this last night when it was leaked, sort of all the stories that would happen from Apple, and all of them came through. So better messaging, a lot of the AI technology going to be on your phone, not back into the cloud, so it can respond quickly to you and personalize your AI experience to yourself, not have to go back and forth with the cloud. So again, if I normally for example, right now at 4:15 on a Monday, talk to Michael, then the thought is that gets extended out, and then Apple will automatically say, hey, time to Zoom call Michael Noss? Why not? It's 4:15 on a Monday. So that kind of stuff, again, pretty impressive. But until we actually see some of this technology in our day-to-day life improve ourselves, then I just wonder what kind of a take AI will have in the market. I know Michael's ready. I'm just going to make sure that Ramin thinks he's ready. And he is ready. So that means it's Trader Talk time. And it's Michael Noss. So let's go. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, but I feel like I'm not doing as great as you because great call on Crocs this morning. That thing shot off right off the open, so we'll give credit where credit is due. But I said we'd talk about Apple, so we will go over that Crocs play one more time in case we do have some new viewers, but many of them are still with us. Some are saying, I've been here for 9 hours, and they know Michael Noss's call, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But what a strange happening there. Apple goes right back to all-time highs, dollars away from that just before we get their WWDC event. So maybe we are being a little, I don't know, tin hat-ish here, but hey, triple top on the weekly, on the daily. Anything you're seeing about Apple, maybe we've topped out.
It could almost quadruple top, I think you could see here on the daily chart. And these are very, very rare. You know, it's one of those, one of my favorite technical analysis saying is that if you knock on the door enough times, eventually you'll get through. Looks like a little bit of a sell the news event. I watched some of this event because I'm an Apple user, and some of the stuff was pretty cool. But I think people are usually expecting, something that wows them, and this was exactly what everyone thought it would be. So, we're kind of just sitting around this area. I don't know if I would take a short off this zone. If you are, then you have a really, really tight stop. I think the move might be is if we break this and go back through 200. So I don't really see too much here. I just know statistically speaking, triple tops and quadruple tops are really rare. It's like the market doesn't want to make it that easy on us just to sell really, defined areas of support and resistance like this.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen more often than not, like you were mentioning about potentially double tops, triple tops, hard to come across of right there. But again, I just think Apple's just such a huge part of the market. It's almost like we have to treat this as a completely different beast because ETFs, it's in something like 300 ETFs. So every time you or I go ahead and buy XLK or something like that, they got to push a little bit more money into names like Apple. But yeah, I mean, a good look. Maybe we'll let it settle down and go over some more, aggressive names over the next couple of days. I mean, Nvidia had a great day today. Maybe we can look at that. I mean, good split. And again, shout out to Trade Ideas, as we had some people talk about potentially some of the charting programs not reverse splitting, but you guys got it, and you got it really good there. There's the daily chart for Nvidia. Today, we did have a little bit of a pullback. This is just a 1 minute chart early before bouncing into 118 and now making that move back up. Michael, again, because we have often tailwinds that are splits. Like, we're going to see that with CRM. I feel like we saw that with Uber. I got a question about Tesla and how much that ran into its split there. So with Nvidia doing this, are we still thinking a little bullish on this? We've seen AMD pull back. Any initial thoughts here post-split day one with Nvidia?
Well, with Nvidia, you just can't count this one out. Anyone who's been shorting this for any length of time has had a really bad time. I'm seeing a monthly chart here I have up on my screen showing 2,859% over the last 5 years. So, imagine trying to bet a top on this. Yeah, maybe it's a little overdone and people get worried about buying things when they're hitting new highs, but we just need to know that there's only a couple things that we know for true in the market, and one is that trends persist. And I wouldn't bet against this trend until you have some sort of sign that it's going to be over. I'm looking at this base here on the 30-minute chart between, say 120, you could call it, 117 to 122. If we're over that base, might be time for another leg. For me, if I'm long this thing, I'm really, really tight with my stop at this point because, you have to be up pretty good on it at this point, and you just don't want to let all of that get away just in case something bad happens with AI. But I wouldn't bet that this thing's going to come down to earth anytime soon, personally.
20. You really put it in perspective there, Michael, when you look at that 2,800% in 5 years. Like, what the hell were you and I doing 5 years ago? Why we just didn't load up into this name. All right, come over to my screen quickly. I just want to address something because there is some talk in the chat here. So I want to make it perfectly clear because traders stay late, and I'm going to discuss this right now. People are saying, how come GameStop keeps touching $37 and then back into 25? That's not what's happening. There are dark pool prints that I've filtered those out, and I know your software does too over there at Trade Ideas. They're not happening now, but maybe if I can zoom, there they are. So here's some right here. You see, so sometimes 36.75, 36.85. They're just late reports or average prices. Dark pools have different reporting structures. I know you know that, Michael, but I just wanted to cover that with some of the people in our chat because, again, GameStop is not moving around $20 or $30 right now. But you and I have a love affair, a love-hate relationship maybe with some of these meme stocks. And I know that you've sort of said they're not all the same, and you've been completely right about that, as AMC seems to only want to move when GameStop has something exciting about it. But when I look at GameStop, I actually, Michael, you know what? I mean, my untrained eye looks at this and says almost like, no, thank you. But I've drawn a couple lines here and thought that maybe this $20 level might hold, and then maybe this $23.50 or so might hold. And then when I look back at what's been happening today, we did get a hold there of $23.50. And I actually drew these lines weeks and weeks ago when we had thought about maybe looking for a long before we did get that break higher. Is this something that maybe we're just gambling, thinking we can hold this? I think the answer is going to be yes to that, as it's clearly not trading on fundamentals. It's trading on somebody posting random things online, then acting like he's dead, and then getting revived. By the way, did you check out that stream? I thought it was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I did. And just for all of the debate about whether or not he should be able to do what he's doing, I think if Muddy Waters and Iceberg and all these guys can put out short reports, Roaring Kitty should be able to put out memes. Now, myself, I'm not going to trade off this. If I did, it looks like the $20 area might be a fair price to take a shot. I just drew out these gaps that you see right here. $20 seems like it might be a good place to nibble some on GameStop. Now, I will say I do agree that we do need to start splitting up the meme stock, because as a Canadian, it makes me sad, but BlackBerry's not coming back. AMC
Right.
has diluted its shares. It's never coming back.
Right.
But GameStop's now, it's raised that $2 billion or so off the back of retail, which is unfortunate if you were a holder at the time, but that gives them a little bit of runway. So I watched the stream, and around all of his, memeing and all of this, he basically just said, hey, I think that the CEO has a chance now with the $2 billion in cash to
Right.
turn the ship around before they run out of money. And if you believe that too, I think you could take a shot around $20.
Right.
It's not for me, but if it's for you, go nuts.
I mean, the thing is that why do we have to complicate things? Just like you said, he has $20 calls. He talks about that's his price. So I'm with you. If he wants to come on there and laugh and see it drop from $38 to $30 and threaten, am I out? Am I hitting the ejection seat? I don't know. I mean, I looked down and I saw 30 sheets in that guy's bank account, and I was just like, okay. I mean, this guy already has 30 million just sitting there. I don't know exactly what he's doing, but this was funny here. Michael, you were a billionaire at one point, maybe potentially as well, if you did hold all of those shares. So this is his latest one. The Roaring Kitty coming back there to life once again the last couple weeks. All right, why don't we talk a little bit about Crocs? Because there's been some traders that have said, wow, what a great call this was. I know you've been talking about Crocs for a minute for us, not just today, a decent short float, but for anybody that maybe wasn't joining us earlier this morning when you were on the air at about 8:45, what a great move Crocs had. And it's not like you cherry picked this move. I mean, here's the move on Crocs right here. As you were talking, it was actually going down, Michael. And then all of a sudden the market opened up and boom goes the dynamite. So a lot of traders could have been long, took $8 or $9 right there. Huge move for Crocs. Did you trim anything? Is there any sort of expected move after this? Great call on Crocs. Maybe we could go over it one more time.
Yeah, so I didn't trim anything on Crocs. I'm a swing trader. When I see an engulfing candle like that, I want to try to hold it. My goal was to see if we could get through the highs here, but I'll just summarize quickly what I was talking about. So this scan that you see on the bottom corner here, this is a new scan that we put in, and we built this with the moving average cloud that we built. We got a whole bunch more scans in the pipeline for this moving average cloud. So again, it's nothing crazy. It's the top of this cloud is an 8 EMA, which is a very common moving average. A lot of people use an 8 or 9 period exponential moving average. And then the bottom here is just a 21. And again, it's just because this is common and this is what a lot of people use. So what it does is it shades this area. If the stock's moving up, then it's shading it green. If it's moving down, it's shading it red. Just a nice way, especially for new traders, to gauge trend. And then also to make sure that they're not buying when they're too extended from these moving averages, which can, hurt people as they're breaking out. So I just saw this one on this particular moving average. The monthly chart, I can go through this quickly, is green. The cloud is, and it looked very good. You go into the weekly chart, and the cloud is again green. It was coming back to touch that. But this scan is basically just looking for these pullbacks into this cloud. So I just like the look of that, not just because of the indicator, because I'm more of a price action guy, but I like the fact that it was holding these two prior highs right here as well. So what I talked about was that if I could get some sort of a move over 150, that's where I was going to get involved, and my stop was going to go under yesterday's low. So funny enough, after I leave the show, I took a few minutes and I put in those orders, and then I walked away. And it was nice to see a push from 150 to 155 right away. So I'm holding this one. My idea was maybe we could touch these highs, which would be a 3-to-1 risk reward. That's what I'm after for at least part of my position, and then we'll see what happens from there.
All right, Michael, good call on that one. And also, you and I talked about this last week again, and you have a partner that agrees with you in Brian Shannon, and talking about crypto and looking to see if crypto was finally about to break out. You really love the chart. So I have a question to ask you. Do you want to talk about BTC, IBIT, MSTR, or what? Because the chart that I have up is Bitcoin. And I mean, and I know you've been looking at MSTR, so maybe we'll do that, and I'll leave that to you. But again, you want to talk about Apple potentially triple topping as well. If I just look here at a daily, this is actually a week chart, my bad, for BTC. although we're above some of these highs, so it does look different than Apple, that's under its past highs. But you still do have something similar, topped out there, potentially topped out. We do have a topping candle there of around 74,000 before dropping back to 60,000. Those 2 weeks were pretty tumultuous. Is that a valid word? I don't know. But right now, what are you thinking about Bitcoin and MSTR or anything you want to talk about in this space? I'm not scared about a little bit of a move back. I still think we're intact, holding some of these lows. What does, as we have on our board, Mr. Michael Noss, what does he think about Bitcoin right now?
I still like it. You know, after we spoke, it had that kind of drop down on, I think, Friday. It held some prior support there. I have MSTR up. I still like the look of this chart just for my overall thesis. It's just we've got a kind of cup and handle look, right? We've got this giant cup. We got a little bit of a handle. I need to see on MSTR if we use that 1500 breakdown to invalidate this. Full disclosure, I am in a little bit of Bitcoin. I got out of some of the position just because I didn't like the action that I saw today. But I still like the look of this. So I'm looking for this to potentially move higher so that I can reload and I can get back in. Some of the stocks that I'm playing with, though, have been surprisingly strong. So Coinbase, for example,
right?
Yes, it had that sell-off on Friday, but then it retook that again. And you can see this cloud kind of come into play again. Holding this area right here is what I want to see. And then Hood, I took, and I actually, just like I did with Crocs this morning, I laid out the whole synopsis on Hood. But just quickly, A, I thought it's going to move with crypto, if I'm right about crypto. And B, with all of this craziness going on with GameStop, the real winners here are Robinhood, where they're making, you know, a couple pennies on every single trade that comes by. So the actual crypto is pulling back. Some of the stocks are holding strong. So that's where I'm keeping my money, because it seems like even if I'm wrong on crypto, these stocks may pay me. But I still like the look of the chart. It's a longer term play. I think if we break out, you know, maybe it takes that shot at 100K that everyone is looking at, if that's maybe a little bit too bold to say.
No, I think that is what everyone's looking at. I mean, I've heard price targets. Chamath has 500,000 or something on it, and probably Kathy Wood, I think, has literally 1 million or something ridiculous. So who knows where it goes? But you know what? The more I think about it, and I know you're just looking at technicals and stuff, it does make perfect sense what you just said. You know, as crypto becomes more popular, let's look at names like Robinhood that people will flood to trade crypto. Coinbase, again, the custodial and a whole bunch of different opportunities like that, not just making money with the price of what Bitcoin does, but also sort of the picks and shovels there. So I do like that. And Mara, I mean, I'm not going to forget that call that you made at $10 as well. One of the classic calls here on the market recap show of all time. So I just want to say one more thing. Obviously, Michael Noss is with Trade Ideas. You can hit Trader TV 20 and grab that discount at any time. And you're getting a lot of love for what you have on those waves there on the chart. That is something that, again, is built into Trade Ideas, and everyone can, once they become a subscriber, can hit you up at Michael Noss CMT over there on X. You do have, again, you just say Google your name and a whole bunch of different options will show up. So, I mean, I'll ask you right here live on the show, because I know the answer. You're willing to help out any subscribers or anybody in any sort of a scanner or anything like that for Trade Ideas.
Yeah, just hit me up. And we pride ourselves on our support. So if you go to the Trade Ideas website, there's a little help button there.
Perfect.
The team that we have, I don't know if any of them are watching this, but I'll give them a little props. They're amazing. We understand that trading is hard. We understand that we have built a very robust platform. So that can take some learning as well. And we're here to help you through that.
And in case anybody is watching too, I want to thank everybody from Trade Ideas. And again, thank Michael for coming on weekly, multiple times a week, to demonstrate the software and show everybody the advantages of that. So Michael, once again, we're now over time, and I told poor Ramin that I wouldn't do this, but you and I could probably talk forever and ever. So let's wrap it up right now. Everyone in the chat is really loving when you come on. So from them to you, from me to you, I want to say thank you again, Mr. Michael Noss, and I'll check you out next time.
Talk to you then.
Ciao. That's Trader Talk. Again, just an absolutely great guy. I mean, he just keeps it real, and I think that's the important thing about what we're doing. You can check our Freedom and Wealth podcast as well, where Brendan and I keep it as real as we possibly can. That's going to be a good one. Go follow us on all of our socials. Make sure you grab that QR code. Check out Real Trading and check out us as well on all of them socials. But you know what? We can't do this without you. So right now we do have roll call. I do have some news to talk to you guys about. We'll be splitting this market recap show up as the summer hits. Right now I'm going to have Neil cover probably the last half of the week. I'll do the first half of the week, and then we'll see whoever trades better can do the Wednesday show. We'll split it up on the hump day. Maybe we'll alternate that. But yeah, this week I'm on Monday. Tuesday, Neil will be on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as I'm not here Friday or Wednesday for baseball. So it just worked out well, but we will be dividing up the market recap show. So hopefully I'll be able to talk to Michael every Monday, followed by whoever comes on Tuesday. Oh yeah, my guy Brian Shannon on tomorrow. But here we go. Let's go over to roll call right now. This is where we say thank you to everybody that stays late with us right now. Late with me now, late with Neil next couple days. Thank you to TH. Thank you to Roman. Thank you to NYC Urbanista. We've seen you there for a while as well. Mike Breeze, Mo Fun coming through. Dan McIsaac, Rivian Millionaire. I don't know if you made money on Rivian or not, or if you are even a millionaire, but I like the name. Shout out to that. Bears vs. Bulls is here as well. Thank you so much to Bears vs. Bulls. Mr. Westermeyer, can I give your kids, both Walker and Zoe, a shout out who are joining you today? Was that good enough? If not, let's do another one. What's up to Walker and to Zoe? And a shout out to your father, who is absolutely fantastic. Been watching the show lots. Sent us the Magic 8-Ball. You got a good one there. Shout out to both Walker and Zoe. You are now on YouTube. So shout out to that right there. Bears vs. Bulls again, hope and victory. Douglas Hardy. Hey, he's from Alaska. What's up, Alaska? Coming through as well. As you can hear, I lose my voice way too often doing this, but I'm only doing it for all of you and for everybody here at Trader TV Live as well, as we just put on programming and programming and programming. Big shout out to Obi today and to Sharif. And again, a big thank you to the one, the only Ramin on the ones and twos over there, making this all happen. So again, shout out to everybody who's there, and a big one to Zoe and Walker and Westermeyer there. So hey, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Mr. Michael Noss, as you can see him on there. That was roll call. I had a good time. I hope you did as well. But without any further ado, Marissa, I love you, and I'm coming home. Take care. I'll be there soon. Thanks, Ramin. Thanks, everybody. Go follow me at Trader TV Sean everywhere. Ciao until tomorrow.